Okay. Well, thank everyone for joining us tonight. This is ANC 5D's ANC 5D's May public meeting. We are commencing here at 7:08 p.m. For those that are familiar with how we hold our virtual meetings, we have a Q&A function on tonight's Zoom. There you can ask questions that we hope will be allowed time to share with any of our presenters, any folks doing reports or sharing information for the community. If you do not have the time or not able to get enough time to you to answer your question, get to your question, we do request that presenters always share their contact information and drop it in the Q&A so it's publicly displayed for all the attendees to view and get access to. So if you are presenting tonight, as we go down the agenda, I'll ask that you raise your hand so we can promote you to panelists so you can share any presentation or material that you'll be sharing with the public at tonight's meeting. We do have a full agenda. So we'll be making sure to follow it in a timely fashion. That means we have allotted time for questions and for the presenters. So please be conscious of the time, and we apologize if we're not able to get to your direct questions tonight, but we have an agenda to follow, and we always are open and available for anything after tonight's meeting. Okay, with that being said, I'd like to call to order and do roll call. Tonight's meeting is starting at 7:09 p.m. I'll do roll call for the commission. Commissioner for 5D01 is currently still vacant. As the chair of ANC 5D, it's my responsibility to hold those needs for those residents and constituents of 5D01 under my purview, and I have been meeting and addressing any of the concerns residents have been stating out from 5D01. 5D02, that is Commissioner Sabrina Rhodes of Ivy City, and she'll be absent from tonight's meeting. 5D03.
Here, but I do have some internet issues. Hopefully I'll stay here.
Okay, thank you for the notice. 5D04.
Commissioner Stephen Cobb, present.
Thank you. 5D05 is myself, and I am present. 5D06.
Present. And I noticed that when you promoted the meeting to YouTube, I started having camera issues. So you may want to check your controls.
5D07.
Good evening, Juan McCullum, present.
Okay. 5D08.
Commissioner Reed May, present.
Thank you. And 5D09.
Commissioner Bernice Blacknell, 5D09, present.
Thank you. So we have quorum for tonight's meeting. So any business items that we'll be voting on, we'll be able to proceed following the proper procedure with the ANC. With that being said, I do have the next item on the agenda, which is the adoption of the agenda. I will ask any of the commissioners if they have any requested changes or additions to tonight's agenda.
I have an addition, the zoning committee
What is your addition?
that we briefly discussed removing the chair and changing the chair of the zoning commission meeting. The zoning.
Okay. Do you have a letter in support of this?
A letter from whom?
Do you have any letter supporting your request to remove the chair from the zoning committee, or is this just an open discussion? I'm asking you a question, Commissioner Henderson.
And I'm answering it, asked and answered, Commissioner.
So you don't have a letter. Got you. Any other additions or requests? If not, I have an addition to add a voting action item for a letter of support for the art room in Union Market. But I'll allow Commissioner Henderson to make her motion to make an addition to tonight's agenda.
So moved.
Can you make your motion?
That we add a brief discussion of changing the chair and membership of the zoning committee, the ANC 5D zoning committee.
Can anyone give a second for Commissioner Henderson? No second. I'll give Commissioner Henderson a second. A second by me, Chair Commissioner Salvador Sauceda Guzman. All in favor of Commissioner Henderson's motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay.
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 Commissioner Blacknell, did you respond? You're muted if you did.
Yeah, nay, but I do have a question. Commissioner Henderson, what is your reason?
We can't, Commissioner Blacknell, you can't open, or during the vote, we can't have discussion. So we have
Oh,
to have
okay.
discussion before the vote. So if
Okay.
you don't want to cast your vote now, we would have had to have the discussion before the vote.
Yeah, but see, I'm having problems, just like I said, muting and unmuting. I don't know what's going on.
I think it's working now, Commissioner Blacknell.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we
That's
apologize if you
why.
missed your request for discussion.
Yes, no problem.
Yes, ma'am. So we're at vote now, so we need to make sure that we record the vote correctly. So I think at this point, we need to get your vote, Commissioner Blacknell.
I'm against it.
Thank you. Any abstentions?
Commissioner McCollum abstain.
Okay. The nays, I think the nays proceed. So we'll be refraining from adding that to tonight's agenda. I do move that we add a voting discussion item to tonight's agenda in terms of a letter of support for the art room in Union Market. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Blacknell. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Those opposed, say nay.
Opposed?
And any abstentions? Okay, the ayes have it. We'll proceed with adding that requested voting action item to tonight's agenda. Moving on with the agenda, we have the adoption of the minutes being shared by Commissioner May. Commissioner May, can you share the minutes, brief overview of the minutes from last month's meeting?
Yes. Pretty typical minutes. I don't think there's anything particularly remarkable. They are available on ANC5D's website under the meetings section. And they were shared out to the commission, I believe, on just right toward the end of April. Let me tell you when we shared them. Sorry, give me 1 second here. Them pulled up. But if you go to anc5d.org, you'll be able to see the draft meeting minutes there. And they were shared, once this loads, I can tell you, on 4/23 with the rest of the commission. Summarizes, all of our discussion from the April meeting. There were a couple of items toward the end of the meeting that ended up being tabled for future discussion. That's captured in there as well. So we ended up not having quite as many voting actions as we had originally anticipated, but otherwise it was a pretty standard meeting.
And we reviewed them at the COW meeting that's publicly available on YouTube. Okay. Our fearless secretary, would you like to make a motion to adopt the minutes?
Yes, I move to adopt the April 2023 meeting minutes as presented.
Okay, I second. All in favor of adopting last month's meeting minutes, say aye.
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 Aye. Those opposed
Opposed?
and any abstentions? Okay, the ayes have it. We'll adopt the meeting minutes from April's monthly meeting. Moving forward, we have our treasurer's monthly report by our treasurer, Commissioner Cobb. Commissioner Cobb.
Thanks, Commissioner. For April 2023, we had an opening balance of $31,454.76. We had expenses of $988.59, and those were two expenses: our monthly MailChimp subscription and our monthly FiOS subscription for the office. And that left us with a closing balance of $30,466.17.
Okay, any questions from commissioners or the public?
Question. What are the specific amounts for each charge?
For MailChimp, it was $27.56. For FiOS, it was $961.03.
$961 for FiOS?
Yes, that's all inclusive for the Wi-Fi, for all of that, and it includes some back payments from when our payment system went down last year,
Back payments from when
from last year.
specifically?
I don't have that in front of me.
Any other questions from commissioners or the public? Don't see anything in the Q&A. Okay, thank you, Commissioner. So moving forward with tonight's agenda, we have going into the meat and potatoes. We have I guess you could say our appetizers, which are standing presentations that we typically have every single meeting, starting with commissioner reports, going into safety reports from the 5th district, the office of the mayor, and our Ward 5 council member's office. So starting with ANC reports. Again, 5D01 does not have a commissioner at this time. 5D02, Commissioner Sabrina Rhodes is currently absent tonight. 5D03.
I think Commissioner McCullum has his hand up. Did you have your hand up, Commissioner?
I did, but it would be out of order. It's fine. I just wanted to remind everyone that it's 3 minutes for these, and we're going to be on time tonight. So everyone, before we begin, I wanted to just make an announcement that we are keeping time, and it will be 3-minute times allotted for each of the commissioners.
Thank you, parliamentarian people. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Commissioner Anna Roblin. Please, never hesitate to reach out to me if you have any issues. Let's see. So, one thing I want to say is I'm sorry I have been slow on getting my newsletter out since I put it into a Google group. I'm trying to figure out the formatting, and I'm not a technical person, so please be patient. It's going to take a little while longer. And if you would like to join my newsletter, everybody is welcome. I'll put my information, contact info in the chat. Just let me know. And it's like news and events, basically. I was starting a support and action group. And can everybody hear me, see me?
Yes.
Okay, I keep going in and out a little bit. Unfortunately, it's being held up by BEGA, which is the DC Legal Ethics Authority. There's a good chance that unfortunately it may be just not a legal thing to do, and they're still checking. So I was really looking forward to it, and I'm hoping that if it is illegal, we can figure out a way to do it that is legal, so that we can really have that kind of support for the community. Also, we're doing some Know Your Rights presentations. Me, Commissioner Rhodes, the ACLU, and the National Lawyers Guild met, and we're discussing trying to get Know Your Rights presentations for everybody. The first one we're going to have should be in either June or July. It'll be on stop and frisk, but we're planning ones on gun rights, ones for demonstrations, ones for disability rights, and others. We can use your feedback. Just contact me in the chat. It's come to my attention, I've sort of realized that a lot of people don't know about your ability to file a complaint with 311. Anybody can file a complaint with 311. You can do it by phone or by online, and it's all kinds of issues. Anything from rodents, all kinds of traffic situations, DDOT, trash, you name it. So I think it'll be really beneficial. So I'm going to put that know about it when you can. So I'm going to put a link to it in the chat. The first thing you do is register, and then you can get into the system and you can see what's there. There's a lot there.
Thank you, Commissioner Robin.
Okay?
We appreciate it.
Do I have more time?
That's your
No,
time, Commissioner.
Okay.
Thank you. 5D04.
In the interest of time, I'm just gonna say there's nothing pressing at this moment.
Thank you, Commissioner. 5D05, that is myself representing Northern Trinidad, Mount Olivet. Nothing in a pressing matter at this time except for our solidified meeting date with DPR in regards to the transfer of our park rec specialist from Trinidad Rec to Kenilworth. We have that set up for next week. So I know we have a lot of residents that are interested in attending that meeting. Please get in contact with me if you're interested in attending. We look forward to support to address our safety concerns and issues at the rec center. So looking forward to that. 5D06.
Good evening, viewing audience, Commissioner Kathy Henderson. I see some of my constituents on here tonight. Good evening. Three things. One, I had a great meeting with some new neighbors on 17th Place. Cheers to you all for being very concerned, committed, and I look forward to working with you. Second, I have requested an audit of ANC 5D funds. I continue to be very concerned about the $85,000 expenditures between January 2019 and the present. We have expenditures that lack documentation, expenditures for a flat screen TV, car equipment, something to Sydney householder, and other inappropriate items. So we'll let the DC auditor sort through that. Last thing, I am requesting that the chair of the zoning committee be removed. We have no value. This person adds no value to that committee. We have a lot of out of control, inappropriate development in 5D06 that does not conform to basic design standards or even permitting. A lot of things throughout the commission are not even properly permitted. And I want my constituents to be on the zoning committee. So if this commission doesn't act, we will be meeting, ladies and gentlemen, to discuss our concerns as we have done over the years to discuss what we want moving forward in our community. So stay tuned and we will be moving forward. So with that, I will just rest for now. I think that's enough for now. And I'll be reaching out. Oh, one more thing. I have one more seat available for the Anacostia boat ride that will take place this Saturday at 9 o'clock. Well, there are two slots, 9 o'clock, 9 to 10 and 10 to 11. It's free. It's at the Heritage Trail. So if you are interested and you are in 5D06, please reach out to me. Even if you're not in 5D06, if you'd like to reach out to me because you are a longstanding neighbor and I know you, I welcome you to join us. So thank you. My phone number is 202-556-5823.
5D07.
Sure. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. This is Juan McCullum for 5D07. I'll be brief. On week before last, Chairman Sauceda Guzman and I, we walked 1701 8th Street new development that's being turned over to the community. We had a long meeting with the developers. Management will be on site next week. We'll be meeting with them. But we were able to go into the unit. We were able to look at some of the inclusionary zoning units. We also were able to go and just look at some of the market value units and some of the amenities that that all of the residents there will be afforded. So it was a very good meeting. I did open that meeting up to all commissioners. I do understand that some of you had prior engagement, so no harm there. But anytime, if any of the other commissioners would be interested in going and viewing the place before it's open to the public, please let me know and we will definitely.
Yes, I am. I didn't know about your meeting, but I'm happy to attend a tour.
Okay, we'll talk offline and I'll definitely get that hooked up for you. We're going to be planning a community meetup and it may not be before our June public meeting. So I may be giving more information on this in June, but I just want to go ahead on and get it out there to my constituents and my neighbors. The community meetup is going to be an opportunity for the developers here in 5D07 to meet some of the neighbors and our constituents here, and also give the constituents the opportunity to meet the developers. Here in 5D07, there is a lot of development that's going on, and I get a lot of calls and emails from my neighbors, my friends, the constituents who are concerned about some of the development here. And I get calls really from a few of the developers who have voiced their concerns about feeling like they're targeted by certain residents. So we're going to have this community meetup to give everyone an opportunity to meet. They'll be able to ask the developers any questions they have about that particular development. And it'll also give the developers an opportunity to kind of make a presentation to the neighbors here to let them know that if they are interested in sensible development, then they're here for that, and they're willing to cooperate with neighbors while they're in our community. So that's going to be coming up, and it'll be, all of my constituents, and even those in other SMDs, you're more than welcome and invited to come over. I will say that on last meeting, I did put the commission on notice with regards to 5D07 and misrepresenting or stating that you are a commissioner for 5D07. But I think that it has not gone far enough. So I will say tonight that this is my last public cry. If you are not the commissioner of 5D07, please do not have the constituents in 5D07 thinking that you are the commissioner for 5D07, and certainly do not misrepresent and state that you are the commissioner for 5D07. Today, I received an email from MPD stating that commissioners or commissioner has been operating and trying to get certain things done in my commission. I do understand that we should all be collectively working together, and I am not against that by no means. But if you're going to do something in my SMD, I am going to ask for the courtesy of letting me know what's going on. Emails back and forth to the police or to other agencies and not CCing me as the elected commissioner is disrespectful to me, and I feel like no one should be doing that to either of us. So this is my last public cry out to say, do not do it. I did address the email back to MPD today, letting them know that bullying, unprofessional communication, and certainly disrespect through email exchanges would not be tolerated. I will let all of you all know that I come from the old school of decency and in order. And I do believe that. And I think that all of us can coexist in that manner. And so while my time is almost up, I'm just going to say that this is my last time asking that if you are not the commissioner of 5D07, do not misrepresent and do not have others thinking that you are the commissioner in this commission. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner McCollum. 5D08.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Reed May for 5D08. I just have a couple of quick things. First, I wanted to mention there have been 2 shootings on M Street in the last week here in 5D08. One of those was at 2013 M Street, and the other was at 19th and M Street. So I've had some conversations with residents who are, of course, concerned about this, and I just wanted to acknowledge that I'm very sad to see it, and I'm trying to work with MPD to understand, as much as they know. I'm also looking forward to asking about that this evening. Unfortunately, I don't have many details at this point beyond what's been shared publicly by MPD. But again, I did want to mention that. And we did lose on the shooting that occurred at 2013 M Street. We lost a valuable community member, resident of Lyman Place, and we were very sorry about his passing and the violence in our community. So I wanted to mention that. And then I've actually, sort of similar to what Commissioner McCollum said, I've had a couple residents ask about some construction projects, and I am working on trying to connect with some developers for some community conversations there. I think the projects in question at 19th and L Street and 19th and Lang Place are by right, but they are still significant projects. And so I want to see if we can create some community conversations and some more awareness about what's going in on those locations. Those are the big public updates I have for this month. So I'll pass it on to Commissioner Blackman.
Yes, good evening, everybody. I'm Commissioner Bernice Black now. I'm the ANC Commissioner for 5D09. And I'm going to agree with Commissioner McCollum because I'm going through the same thing too. We need to be respectful. If you are not the ANC Commissioner for 5D09, please do not act like you the ANC Commissioner for 5D09 because you are not. And I agree again with Commissioner McCollum. We all need to respect one another's SMDs. Also, I received quite a bit of emails about the encampment that's going on at M Street in the Arboretum. I have again turned it over to the government officials. I hope they can do something about this. Um, it's been ongoing. Also, I like to announce Langston Day is on August the 19th from 10 to 5. Everybody is welcome. And if you need any help or any problems dealing with 5D09, you can please give me an email and take pictures, and I will get back with you and I will turn it over to the correct government official so we can work on it and hopefully resolve the issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. So moving forward with the agenda, we have our public safety report. And tonight we have MPD from the 5th District doing that report. Captain Merrill, I saw you on, and I think I promoted you to panelist. Yes. Whenever you're ready, Captain.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Sorry, I just was able to get into the promoting thing. Good evening, all commissioners. Good evening, everyone in ANC 5D, the public. I just want to go over the safety report for May and April on ANC 5D. First off, we had 2 homicides. One was in the 2000 block of M Street. The other one was the 1600 block of Benning Road. The 1600 block of Benning Road, we should be able to close that one pretty soon. We got some good information on that one. The homicide on the 2013 M Street, that's still open and that's still actively being investigated. We had 3 ADWs, 3 robberies. But the thing that's more of a concern for me is we've been noticing there's people that are actively driving around in cars targeting people. You'll have 2, 3, 4 people that are riding around in cars and they're just actively looking for targets. So my thing is, I'm asking the public, I know we ask this about you all the time, and I know it could be tough. Please just try to pay attention when you're walking to your car or walking away from your car. And if you have like items, like you're bringing groceries into your house or something like that, if there are people in your block that you don't know or that you're uncomfortable with, please don't bring those items out at that time. Just give it some time. Hopefully the block clears out. Then you go ahead and get your items and bring them into your house. I always tell people, if you feel like something's not right, go with your instinct, because your instincts, your brain does know more than you do sometimes, actually. So if you do feel uncomfortable, if you're pulling into a parking spot, you see a bunch of guys or somebody hanging out and you don't know these guys, it might be a great parking spot, but please try to get another parking spot. Also on Maryland Avenue, if you can park in the garage in any of those condos or any of those buildings, please park in the garage. A lot of people don't want to park in the garages. They park in the streets and their vehicles are getting stolen. So please just be cognizant of your surroundings. And if there is a vehicle that's when I look at robbery videos, like when we look at the video surveillance and stuff, we'll actually see the car. It'll circle 1, 2, 3 times around the suspect around the victim before the victim. And most of the times the victim isn't even aware of what's going on. They'll pull the car, they'll go a half a block away, and the passengers will jump out of the car, commit the robbery, commit the crime, run back to the car, and then they're gone. So it's like, it's a thing where we're trying to really battle that. And we're noticing that they're not attacking people that are doing this when they're walking. They're going after people that are doing this and with their head down and talking on their cell phone. So please try to be cognizant and be aware of your surroundings, especially when you're going to your car, to and from your home, and when you're bringing items from your vehicle. We've noticed if people do that and they pay attention to what's going on around them, we usually we don't see that kind of action happening. But there are people that are actively in vehicles looking to target people. So understand that that is happening, and it's something that we're combating. A lot of times they're in stolen cars doing this. A lot of times they're coming from 6D on that Benning Road corridor. So like I said, just please be more cognizant of what's going on around you, and just be aware. That's all. That's pretty much all I have for the report. Open for any questions.
Thank you, Captain. Do you have any questions from commissioners? I see Commissioner Henderson with their hand raised. Commissioner
Do I have the
Henderson, are you
floor?
there?
I'm here. Yes, Captain Merrill, I understand you're doing some work in 1600 and 1676 Maryland Avenue Northeast. I am the commissioner for that community. I'd like a full briefing from you, what you're doing, whom you're talking to, and when you started. Do you think you can do that?
I'll provide to you whatever I can publicly.
You'll provide everything to me, Captain Merrill. Do you
Okay,
think you can
Commissioner.
do that?
All right, Commissioner.
You seem reluctant. That's affirmative?
I'll share with you what I can.
Thank you, Captain. Commissioner May, you have a question?
I do. Captain Merrill, thanks for coming out. I know you, I'm sorry.
One second before we get to Commissioner May. Commissioner Henderson still has her hand raised and she still has more time. So let's make sure that she has yielded her time before we move forward.
Actually, I have not. Thank you, Mr. Commissioner Timekeeper. Captain Merrill, I've discussed some concerns with Assistant Chief Kane. I'll be following up. So I expect you to be forthcoming about the safety of my constituents. There have been 3 homicides in that building, and I need to know exactly what you're going to do to make sure that those cameras in that building are working at all time, and that the security is working and on point, and my residents are safe in those 2 buildings.
All right, Commissioner.
Anything else, Commissioner Henderson?
No, that's it for now. I'll be following up with Assistant Chief Kane.
Good for you.
Great. Commissioner May, you have a question?
I do. Thanks again, Captain Merrill, for being here tonight. I just wanted to ask if you could share any more about the homicide investigation at 2013 M Street, or I believe there was a shooting yesterday at the intersection of 19th and M Street, where a juvenile was struck in the back.
No, the juvenile wasn't struck in the back. I can't share the details of that. We don't even think that that is a crime at this time.
Okay. How about the investigation of the homicide?
The homicide?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, there's nothing that I can release right now. We don't have any good leads to release to the public. Homicide is investigating. We do know the guy that was struck down. He was a guy that would cut people's grass in the neighborhood and stuff like that. We don't think that he was someone that was causing trouble over there. We don't even know at this time if he was accidentally shot, but I don't think so, because what happened, they really pulled up on him. So I don't know if he had some sort of disagreement, but homicide is investigating it right now. We can't associate with anyone at this time.
Okay. As you mentioned, the gentleman who was killed he was known to a lot of people in the community. Like you said, he cut lawns, and a lot of folks have been disheartened and concerned to hear about his passing. So if there's anything that community members can do to support you all in your work, please let us know.
Yeah, I mean, we encourage people to get as many Ring cameras as you can in front of your homes. That really helps. So anyone, if you can get any kind of Ring camera, anything for your home to put on your front door, or anyone that can, give any kind of surveillance of your building in the front or the back, it'll be helpful for us, because that's mainly what we do. We're looking for surveillance, what happened, and we're still actively trying to collect everything. But yes, we were disheartened too. We all knew the gentleman, and it was a tough time for us.
The gentleman's name is John Rufus Coleman, and he would have been 34 years old on the 15th of this month. He cut our grass. He was a member of our community. So he wasn't just a gentleman, he has a name, and please identify him by his name.
Anything else, Commissioner May?
No, thank you, Captain Merrill. And just to residents, if anyone has any video footage or anything like that that would be helpful to Captain Merrill and his colleagues, please reach out to MPD with that information. Or you can also contact me, and I'm happy to make sure to get in touch with them.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner McCollum, I know you had your hand raised, but I'll let Commissioner Blacknell go first since she had her hand raised first. Commissioner Blacknell?
Hi, Captain Mara.
Good evening,
Commissioner
Commissioner.
Bernice. Yes, how are you? First of all, I would like to say thank you for putting the camera back.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you very much, because
We
that's
were,
a hot
we were tough
spot.
on them. We were tough on
Oh
them.
yeah,
That thing back.
yeah, because that's a hot spot for me and Commissioner McCollum.
I know.
Also, is there any follow-up about the shooting that took place at 2121 I Street last month?
Yeah, no,
Or
that,
you cannot discuss that.
well, we don't really have any further details on that one. There's really not much that we can discuss in reference to that. If anyone has any information, it will be helpful. We're still collecting information on what happened, and that it's still kind of murky. It's still kind of murky of the situation. So we're just trying to get everything ironed out with that I Street shooting in the first place. But if anyone has any information or anything, please, I'll put my information in there. Please make sure you get it to me, please.
Yeah, because I have some concern about that, because that was directly across the street from where I live at, and everything. So that's why I was asking. And I would like to I have one more question, and it's going to be short and brief. I am the ANC commissioner for 5D09. I don't get information pertaining to what's going on in my single member district. And I'm really kind of upset about that. All the other ANC commissioners, they get information about what's going on in their single member district, and I don't. I didn't I heard about the shooting, but I did not get any information about the shooting per se from 5D. I had to get it from another ANC not another ANC commissioner, another government official. So
Commissioner,
they had this.
oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Please, have you signed up for our alerts? Because a lot of commissioners, they get it from our alerts and stuff too. Have you signed up for our alerts?
Yes, yes. And the
You're not getting
government
it?
official. No,
You're not
I'm not
getting it?
getting it. And the government official re-signed me up again, but no, I'm not getting anything.
I'll try to keep that in mind, Commissioner. And if something comes up, I'll just reach out directly to you.
Thank you. Thank
No
you so
problem.
much.
No problem.
Thank you, Commissioner Blacknell. Commissioner McCollum?
Sure. Thank you, Captain, for being here tonight.
Thank you, Commissioner.
I'm looking forward to us really fostering a good relationship. We're working together. I do appreciate the exchanges that we've had thus far. I just had a real quick question. I know that we're trying to come up with remedies and ways to be successful with 19th and Benning, and that continues to be the thorn in my side. Well, one of them. I just wanted to know if you could give me some type of remedies that my constituents can kind of employ right now, because I continue to get text messages and phone calls about that area from the immediate neighbors that it's impacting every day. And so some of them are concerned because as they're moving from the grocery store there on the corner, 7 Food store, as they're moving from there, they're moving down the sidewalk. And so it's now becoming a problem in people's or in neighbors' personal sidewalk space. Not necessarily on the public way of the sidewalk, but they'll get in the grass area that's on the front of different folks' properties. And so, I have to give some type of response back, and I don't want to give a response that's just, I've called the police and they're not willing to do anything. So I would like to know what are some helpful remedies that we can employ like immediately to try to do something. I feel like we're just one incident away from that being a major problem on that corner.
Yeah, Commissioner. I mean, that's we did make 6 arrests in the last 2 weeks over in that area. 4 of them were for drugs. 1 was for a gun, I believe, and 1 was a knife. All of those cases were not prosecuted. So we're trying over there. If they're on people's private property, then we can definitely address that. If there's a certain neighbor or someone that they're in their yard, please give me their address and I'll go speak with them directly, and we'll figure out a way to help them. But that area, like I said, we've had the U.S. attorneys, OAG, we've all been out there, all of us together. We've had the mayor was out there with us one time as well. So we've all been out there at 19th and Benning trying to figure out anything we can. That's why we put up all of those cameras over there. There's, like I said, they are surrounded by cameras over there, but you know, we are actively trying to get a solution as well. I mean, unless it's I don't know, we're just like beating our head against the wall over there because we make the arrest, they're not getting prosecuted, our officers get frustrated, and then it looks like we're not doing anything. So it's like it's just a never-ending circle over there. So I look forward to our meeting as well. If you have any ideas or anything that you want to implement, I'm all ears. I'm all open for any ideas at 19th and Benning, and I'm open, like I said. And when we have our meeting, I'll go over and we'll discuss all of the things that we've done over there, and you'll see that it has been extensive. It has been extensive.
And I mean, and that's actually very good. And I do want to address that when we meet. But the problem that we have with it is when folks see in other areas, Northwest and up toward Capitol Hill, and they see that it's not happening there. I mean, if this started taking place in some of the other areas in the city, what would the police be doing in those areas?
I mean, Commissioner, we can only do what the law allows us. It's not like in 2D we're breaking the law or doing something crazy over there. We can only do what the law allows us. And believe it or not, I used to be at 2D. There are areas where people are hanging out in 2D, and it's just like 19th and Benning. Maybe not exactly like that, but there are people that have those same concerns, and it's the same continual problem. So it is throughout the city. It's not just Northwest, and it's throughout the city that there's an issue with us having people hanging out, because there is no loitering laws in the District of Columbia no more. So people can hang out on public space. That is not against the law.
They're not hanging out, Captain. They're actually selling drugs.
I got you, Commissioner. But I'm telling you, hanging out in the District of Columbia is not illegal now in public space.
I'm going to yield because I think our time is up at this point, and I want to be respectful for time tonight. But I do appreciate you taking my concerns. We'll talk offline and try to come up with hopefully a productive meeting of how we should address this.
Absolutely. Look forward to it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Just one final question for me, and then we'll ask the one question from the public that was posted in the Q&A. Captain Merrill, here in 5D05, we've been getting a lot more folks hanging around off of Rom Street, Rom and Montello specifically, deeper into the side, closer to Miggs. And we just had an a situation earlier where a group of young guys were fighting. I don't think they threw too many fists, but they were getting pretty physical and pretty aggressive out there. And you all came out really quickly when it was reported to MPD. But that site seems to be attracting more folks than it has been in the past. So just putting it on your radar for our end of Trinidad, it's becoming a bigger hotspot than what's closer to 11th place in ROM. Those folks, even though we know what they do, they tend to keep it pretty civil. But this new little group that's popping up into deeper off of ROM in the alley of Miggs, they're getting a little too aggressive or too cocky to an extent. So just keeping that on your radar for our end of Trinidad. Then final question from the public, so we can move on with tonight's agenda. Captain, there was a newsletter from the mayor that mentioned of patrolling outside of vehicles and bicycles. Mm-hmm. This is from Desiree Williams. Do we have a schedule and location for the target area 5D?
Yeah, it's called Focus Patrol. It was Hotspot before, now it's Focus Patrol. We do have certain areas, depending on the crime, it does change. In Trinidad, I don't believe Trinidad has a specific area. I believe our area that the crime analysis and them figured it was around Starburst Plaza and Rosedale. But the thing in Trinidad, South Trinidad, we were having construction robberies again. So I have my crime patrol unit Monday through Friday. They're in Trinidad from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. because that's when they were hitting them. They're just exclusively there. So I'll make sure they do ROM and MIGs as well. But that's the issue we were really having in Trinidad, was the robberies at the construction sites and the renovation sites.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for the ROM and MIGs issue. We'll put that on the radar as well. But the focus patrol, it's a new thing that they're doing in the department. The crime is being done by the crime analysis. It really doesn't have anything to do with us. They just say, is this crime analysis correct? And we basically say yes or no. So that's it. So those areas will change just depending on the crime in the area. But there is it's called Focus Patrol now, where the officers are going to be spending 10, 15 minutes in each area, getting out their car and doing different things.
Okay. Thank you, Captain.
Mhm.
If you could just drop your contact information in the Q&A feature so it can be publicly displayed for the entire night.
Sure.
And I'll ask any residents, again, reach out to your ANC commissioners if you have any other public safety concerns that need to be addressed to the captain, or also join the 5D CAC monthly meetings. And you can find that access information where you can speak directly to the commander of the 5th District the 4th Thursday of the month. And you can find that information easily online, 5D CAC. Thank you, Captain Merrill, for joining us tonight. Moving on with tonight's agenda, we have the Executive Office of the Mayor, Christopher Ingram, or Mr. Black. I don't see them. And the participants, commissioners, do y'all see our mokers? I don't see them as well. Okay, we'll come back if they do pop into tonight's meeting. But I do know we have Mr. Stout. I'm sorry, I'm looking for him. Do we? Yes. Thank you. Okay, we have Mr. Stout here on behalf of the council member's office for Ward 5. I'll let him go ahead and speak and share what's going on with the council member's office. I know they're coming out to our way over here in Trinidad, so we'd love to hear them share some of that info with residents.
Hello, everyone. How's everybody going?
Good, Mr. Stout. How are you?
I'm happy to be here.
Great.
So as far as our announcements, I'm gonna make it pretty fast. It looks like we got a pretty busy agenda today. So as far as announcements for our Ward 5 budget wins, we have targeted investments in community safety of 200,000 for substance abuse and behavior, health targeted outreach, and Mount Olivet Road and Trinidad from the 1100 blocks and the 1300 block. So this is getting to, the source of issues and trying to make sure that we can provide services to individuals that are suffering from drug abuse and things of that nature. We also been getting information from our constituents in regards to Orrin and Neal. So we are actually going to be coordinating a public safety meeting for Orrin and Neal section of Trinidad to address constituents' concerns on public safety. We'll be joined by MPD and other relevant agencies to work with residents to find ideas and solutions to address matters of concern. We've also been, we've all been up to date on the things that have been happening in certain sections of 5D, and we are looking forward to working with the ANC commissioners to address these issues as well. Moving on to our busy week that we have with the council member right now. Well, earlier today, he was in Fort Lincoln to address a shooting. This is a public safety walk that happened in the Fort Lincoln area. Moving along, we have the council member will be doing a walk on New York Avenue playground for the community safety walk there in Truxton Circle. That'll be tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Everyone is also welcome to have a conversation with the council member and his staff. I will be there as well. This will be at Calypso Ice Cream and Coffee on 1730 Trinidad at 4 to 6 p.m. Also, the council member will be joined by DDOT Director Lott for a traffic safety walk along South Dakota. That will be on Thursday, 5/11 That'll start at 10 a.m. I will also drop the link into, well, I'll be dropping the information into the chat. This will be meeting at the Woodbridge on 26 in Irving. And then we also have a safety meeting on Thursday, which will be taking place for the Brookland community at Burroughs Elementary School. And that is at 1820 Monroe Street. And we will be joined by MPD to address community's concerns and public safety for that matter as well. And that's all we have for today. I'm going to be dropping that information into the chat if I can.
Okay.
With all the times.
Yeah, it's going to be a little paragraph for that. If you could drop it in the Q&A, that'd be great. I'll open the questions from commissioners and the public. Please use the Q&A feature to drop a question in terms of what's going on with the council member's office. Questions from commissioners?
Well, I just want to reiterate, Mr. Stout, it was nice speaking to you earlier. I mentioned to you that I had a walk with the commander a couple of weeks ago. I did invite the council member, and I also texted him on his cell phone. And in the future, I would like for him to respond. So you can share that with him, and I will also reach out to him. I'd like for him to participate when I invite him. And if he's not available, then certainly, I'd be welcome to have someone from his staff come, but to not respond is not acceptable.
Okay, no problem. But moving forward, please reach out to me because I did not get any information on that from you. So you have my contact information now.
I just got your cell phone number today. You're locked in. Yes. So I will be calling you.
Sounds great.
Okay, going to the commissioners that raised their hand. Commissioner Blacknell, you raised it first.
Hey, Oliver.
Hey, how are you?
Fine. Did you get my email in reference to the encampment?
Yes.
Okay, it's a bigger one now.
I actually responded to that one. Oh, so there's a bigger one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, it's a bigger one. The small one is parked over there on V Street Northeast. I saw that little side street where they have the what's that, the fast sign place and the cash warehouse. That's where that small one is parked. So he's bringing the bigger one over here now, and he still has the dog, and the cars are back. So I don't know what we're going to do, but something has to be done because the constituents on M Street, they're constantly complaining again.
And we're jumping on that. Everything that you've sent in as far as emails, we've been coordinating. This seems like it's just a long process, but we've been working on it, and we've been and we've also been joined by the mayor's office as well in regards to this. So we're all collaborating.
Ingram sent me an email today telling me, thanking me for the information. But I don't know what we're going to do about this man. I really do not know.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner McComb, you had your hand raised.
Yeah, Mr. Stout, thank you for being here tonight with us. I appreciate it. I wanted to thank you. We did the walkthrough over in this SMD about almost a month ago. So thank you for taking time and being responsive to my emails and being a representative from the councilman's office. I really appreciate that. I am going to need your assistance with a follow-up matter. If you'll remember, 1835 was the large building that we met out in front of. It seems like it's the oversized row home that's sitting on the corner. We've been having
the green one.
Yeah.
One with the roof that came up. Yep.
Yes. So we've been having some difficulty with getting a correct response out of DOB. I mean, I have never seen an agency that when you email them, no one is responsive. Kelly from Councilman McDuffie's office emailed several individuals throughout DOB, and 2 weeks passed and we did not get a response. So I did ask today that someone responds. I got a response back today, but it was a hurriedly response that was basically just saying that the building at the time, it was within the regulations. However, the questions that are outstanding are still not being addressed. And so it's been far too long. This building started out in 2017, and we are still sitting almost 10 years. Well, I mean, I guess we're a little bit shy of 10 years, but 6 years certainly, with a building that's here that looks dilapidated. They're not keeping up the property. I mean, you saw it yourself. And so we cannot even get DOB to be responsive and to answer our questions. And so my response to them, which did trigger something today, or my push to them today, was that Kelly needs to be able to brief her boss, Councilman McDuffie, and I need to be able to speak to my constituents about this building. And so we did get something back. But I am going to ping you tomorrow at some point, and I'm going to need your assistance with trying to get an accurate response from those individuals who are in management positions that are choosing not to respond to elected officials, regardless of the capacity that they're in. So you've seen the building, and that was one of the advantages of having you all to come out from the different respective offices, is that you could put your eyes on it and that you could see it. And so I will ask that that you will work with me to try to get some type of response, because all of my constituents have had some concerns about this building. It's too tall, and it's dilapidated, and it has been now categorized as blight. But outside of blight, we've had nothing to go on with this building since 2021. So it's far too long.
Okay, well, be sure to loop me in on that, and I'll make sure that we can escalate it. And we'll work alongside Kelly as well as McDuffie's office, so we can, keep on coordinating from there.
But I appreciate that. I appreciate the council member being responsive, and I certainly appreciate you whenever I asked you to come out for an early morning walkthrough.
No problem.
Here, and we were on time. So thank you so much for that.
No problem. And thank you as well.
I'll ask again if there's any questions from the public to drop them in the Q&A. If not, I'll take this time to just make a brief comment. Mr. Stout, to your office, I want to thank the council member for being able to escalate our concerns at our rec center here in Trinidad in terms of the transfer of Mr. Anthony Higginbotham. We just got, as I shared earlier at tonight's meeting, we just got a date today to finally get a time to meet and discuss our safety concerns and issues at the rec center with the new interim director, interim director Anthony Freeman. She'll be coming to the rec center next Wednesday at 6. We still have some immediate concerns with safety regarding some incidents that have occurred at the rec center recently, and some of the community elders and violence interrupters will be attending the meetup on Wednesday at Calypso. So just letting you know, FYI, we're going to go there. We're not trying to blindside you or your office or the council member, but just giving you a heads up that we'll be there. We'll be discussing that at Calypso. So we look forward to seeing you. So again, we appreciate y'all's presence out here in South Ward 5. We didn't get it often from the council member's office in prior years, but with your office, you guys have been making an effort. So I just want to let that be known that we appreciate it.
Thank you, and appreciate you as well. And I know that meeting will be on, I think it's on the 17th at 6 at the Trinidad, right?
Yes,
okay,
sir.
So I will definitely be there.
Yes, and we're still getting the details situated, but as of today, we finally got some movement on there.
Took some time. We're getting some progress there. So
a lot of time. Commissioner Henderson, did you have a final question or comment? You have your hand raised.
Yes. Regarding Mr. Higginbotham, I'm offended on behalf of my constituents that someone who has been in serving as a stellar employee at the Department of Recreation and managing more children than is really recommended for any one person or their staff. And to have this individual unceremoniously removed and then to convene a meeting with the commissioners after the fact is just really disrespectful. I have shared this with Mr. Jones. Why is Ms. Freeman having a meeting after the fact? You don't do that in other wards. And why are you doing it here? Don't move someone over to Kenilworth where he's just sitting over there. There are hardly any children in Kenilworth. Kenilworth has had a very thorough removal of public housing. So the amount of children does not compare to the amount of children that Mr. Higginbotham and the staff were dealing with here. And Mr. Higginbotham will be successful anywhere he goes. He's educated, he has the skills, but we don't appreciate having someone who we consider a vital member of our community move, and then you want to sit down with us after the fact and discuss that. So in the effort of transparency, I'm sharing my concerns publicly. It's inappropriate. And I know it wouldn't happen in Ward 2. I know it wouldn't happen in Ward 3. It wouldn't happen anywhere else. And I would respectfully request that our council member address this and treat us with the same dignity and respect that you treat other members. Don't remove our staff and then meet with us after the fact. There should have been a meeting convened of the 5D commissioners before that move was made, and certainly with our parents and our community members that are quite fond of Mr. Higginbotham and the excellent work that he and his colleagues have done over the years to keep our community safe and our children engaged and our recreation center a place that serves our community well.
And that's our time.
Thank you, Parliamentarian. Mr. Stout, we appreciate you. If you could drop your information in the Q&A so we can display it for tonight's meeting. And for any residents that need to connect with the council member's office, feel free to reach out to your ANC commissioner if for some reason you can't get a hold of Mr. Stout, but best believe he is easily reachable. So, we appreciate that a lot. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Stout.
Thank you.
Just confirming that we didn't see the mayor's office join out the blue, did we? Believe not. Okay. Moving on with tonight's agenda, we got some meat and potatoes now. We have requested presentations. Our first one is going to be presented by DDOT and promoting the presenter to panelists right now. And this presentation is going to be on the 8th Street Northeast Bus Priorities Update, an update on the current 8th Street project happening by DDOT. And we have our presenter tonight, Mr. Zach Gambetti Mendez. I believe, Zach, are you there?
I am.
Perfect.
Trying to get the camera so you can see me. Oh, there we go. Hi.
Hello, sir. You
All
should
right.
have screen share capabilities if you're going to share a presentation.
Yes. Great. Thank you. Thank you for having me tonight. I know we're on a tight, or not a tight, but just you have a packed agenda. So, really the point of coming out tonight is to provide an update and make sure that you all know that this information is available. You're seeing a PowerPoint slide, right?
Correct.
Okay. So letting you all know that this information is available. Towards the end of the presentation, there's a lot of kind of technical details that is going to be a lot of information. I don't expect everyone to just take it in and then understand, and then we're gone. We can come back if you need to, or if you need to reach out to me to talk through some of this. That's great. Please do. But again, just making sure that folks know that this information is available. I do have kind of this PowerPoint set up so it can sit as a standalone document. I know I've talked to many of you about this project over the past year, or I've been out to the ANC multiple times throughout the past year, but I know there's been some changes. So I'll briefly recap a little bit of the program and the needs assessment and the draft concept that we've talked through. But really what we're here to talk about, as Commissioner Saucedo Guzman mentioned, is the meat and potatoes, which is the traffic analysis for this project. So I really want to make sure that we kind of have time to kind of like talk through that piece. So as a reminder, the project that we're talking about is 8th Street Northeast. It does extend from North Capitol Street over to Benning Road. We will not be touching the bridge, however. That is a separate project. The bridge replacement project is its own thing. So really the bulk of the improvements that we're talking about, or the bus priority elements that we're talking about, are going to be from 3rd Street over to Benning Road. In terms of project timeline, as I mentioned before, we've been working on this project with your ANC and 6A and 6C since around this time last year. We went through kickoff and needs assessment, took public input, created a concept, brought the concept back out, had more public input. And now we're in this traffic and environmental phase as we start moving the project into the design phase to get it ready for implementation in 2024. And so really what this traffic and environmental review is an analysis, synchro modeling, if folks are familiar. And we use that to consult with both our environmental branch within DDOT, but also FHWA, Federal Highways, as we work through the environmental NEPA documentation for this project. So again, the purpose of this presentation is to make sure that we're presenting the traffic analysis to you all, and making sure that you know that this information is available. And as I mentioned before, I can come back out, we can talk through this more at a different time, or if we want a more focused meeting, happy to do that. So as a reminder, this 8th Street is part of the bus priority program, which the mayor established now a couple of years ago, with the main goal of improving bus speeds and reliabilities in all 8 wards of the district. And we're not just looking at the buses, we're looking at the entire rider experience. So our folks are able to get to those buses safely and things of that nature. 8th Street is just one piece of this bigger puzzle of our transit network and corridors that we will be working on over the next several years. We have several projects underway currently, including 8th Street Northeast. And we do this by utilizing a toolbox. This is all on our website. I just want to make sure that folks know that this is all in here. So if you happen to pull this presentation randomly off the website, you have all this information. But we use a toolbox of tools that we can use per specific context. Every road that we look at is different and has different needs. And we can take pieces of this toolkit and apply them to specific roadways. So back last year when we kicked off this 8th Street project, we said, these are a couple of tools that we think are kind of rising to the top for 8th Street. We talked about potentially an exclusive transit lane, potentially some bulb outs for the buses to be able to board people kind of in lane. And then also maybe some transit signal priority where the buses are kind of talking to the signals to make sure that they have an extended green or something like that. As a recap again of the needs assessment that we talked about, 8th Street is a very busy transit corridor. The X2 is the second busiest route. And when you combine the X2, the X9, and the streetcar all together, it is one of the busiest surface transit corridors in the entire district. Very slow travel speeds. The buses are as slow as 5 miles an hour during peak periods. And it has a 72% on-time performance, which WMATA marks as like a D grade. So almost failing, but not quite. So we have a lot of people on a lot of slow buses. In addition to 8th Street being very dangerous, it is a high injury corridor. We know many pedestrians have actually died within our project boundaries, unfortunately. And multiple vehicles have crashed through storefronts, very dangerous situation. And so our 2 major kind of project goals coming out of this are to help the buses and streetcar really move more reliably through the corridor, but also to improve safety along this roadway. So you can actually get to the bus without worrying about, can you get there safely? So, as I mentioned before, we kind of started there, took public input, created a concept, took more public input, but this was the concept that we had talked through again with you all and the other ANCs in the area, basically making that where the streetcar currently operates an exclusive lane just for the streetcar and the buses. That's kind of the major concept here with some, bulb outs so the bus doesn't have to kind of pull out of the lane. It can just keep going straight, as well as safety improvements. This is just, one, brief kind of example of what could be done, but, really kind of like creating more visibility so drivers can see pedestrians, creating slower turns, slowing down cars, things of that nature. Enforcement was a big piece. I know it's come up a lot, so I just want to remind folks that, as we start moving this into design, the public works trucks that are on 8th Street are not going away. And so this bus priority or this transit priority corridor is actually well suited compared to some of our other corridors because there's actually active enforcement, making sure that streetcar is cleared. So, that will remain. And then I think many of you may have seen recently, WMATA announced its Clear Lanes project, which this is a hyperlink when I send this out to you all, so you can view kind of I think it's their press release that I linked to, in coordination with DDOT. So, the X2 will be one of the buses that will be equipped with enforcement cameras. So vehicles that are blocking the bus only lanes or parked in bus stops will receive tickets for those violations. So those are two things coming to make sure that we're keeping these lanes clear and open. And so, how is this helping us meet our goals, right? The enforced exclusive transit only lane will help improve bus speeds and reliability, slowing vehicles down, creating safer conditions, increasing visibility of pedestrians, slowing vehicle turns, right? Turns are often where folks are getting hit either on their bikes or walking or just in other vehicles as well. We are looking at mid-block crossings, introducing those between 6th and 7th, 12th and 13th, and 13th and 14th. So those have been requested. I know some of the 6 ANCs in Ward 6 have requested those, but I thought you all probably were aware of some of those as well. So, all this is helping us improve bus speeds and reliability, as well as making it safer for folks to not only get to the buses, but just be on the corridor in general. So now the traffic analysis, now the fun part. So kind of before we just hop in, just kind of some kind of basics here. Vehicle congestion is likely. Drivers will adjust to new designs. It's kind of a typical kind of balancing process. What is unique about H Street is that we have 2 major construction projects happening on either end of the project corridor that will impact the. I'm sorry?
Time.
Oh, okay.
How many? Sorry, I'm here. Okay. Dizzy, is the time for the presentation over, Mr. Parliamentarian? Just confirming.
Yes.
Thank you.
I've allowed 2 minutes over.
Oh, thank you. Mr. Gabetti Menes, can you give a brief closure to the presentation so we can allow questions?
Sure.
You still have a fair amount to.
Yeah, I was just trying to make sure folks knew the background, just since there were new people who I noticed some new faces on here, and then I don't know about the public. So we were really getting into like what we needed to talk about today. So there's like several more slides, and we're going to talk through more. So I apologize. I should have.
Well, I'll just ask the public just to drop questions in the Q&A right now, as you try to wrap up real quick, so we can give you time to finish properly.
Okay, I apologize. So 2 major construction projects that will be diverting.
1 second. Let's set a time, so we'll do a additional 3 to 4 minutes to wrap up, and then we'll have the public questions to be dropped in.
Okay.
Thank you, Parliamentarian.
So vehicles will already be diverting from the corridor due to the Benning Road project and the H Street Bridge project. Those have already been kind of modeled. So what we're going to look at is traffic estimates, computer models that can't fully reflect the current existing conditions, and their estimations basically is what we're talking about. And they often can't kind of account for complex transportation systems where folks actually have access to metro or different routes, right? They kind of think that all the cars are going to stay on the same road. So just kind of like a little caveat as we move forward. Basically what it does is it produces a score, kind of like school, A through F, A, B kind of being light traffic, E, F being really heavy traffic. What we're going to look at is kind of like 3 situations: existing, build year, right, while vehicles are being diverted during construction on either end of the project, and then an estimation that the model automatically does if all of the traffic from today returns once those construction projects are done. So we're going to walk through H Street really quick: existing, build year, future, and then for the side streets, existing, build year, future. So existing, the model shows that H Street is moving pretty well. There's maybe a couple hiccups at Bladensburg or 3rd where there's vehicle delay gets a little worse, but this is what the model is putting out right now for H Street. When we put in the bus lanes or transit only lanes, And there's diversion happening from the two projects. You can see there's a couple of intersections highlighted in black outline that get a little bit worse, particularly 6. Worse being more delay, increased delay. But some intersections actually get better. The delay goes down. So kind of it's a little give and take here. When we take away the construction and all the cars come back, there's a little bit worse delay, more delay. Particularly though, just peak hour. The whole intersection isn't kind of breaking down. It's just in the peak hour, peak direction. This is looking at the busiest hour of the day. Now, when we move to the side streets, the model is showing that the side streets right now are a little bit worse, more delay than H Street. When we introduce, during bridge construction, you can see a couple of intersections have a little bit more delay, highlighted in black again. And then when all the vehicles come back, interestingly, some get worse, some get better. But yeah, so that's what we wanted to talk through, highlighting that safety always gets better in these things. Transit always gets better. The vehicle traffic will adjust over time. That's something that the model can't really account for, especially when we have two construction projects, long-lasting construction projects. Folks, behavior will change. The model can't kind of understand that, but that's kind of what we wanted to present to you tonight. Again, I can come back. This will be on our website. I can make sure that you all have links to it. But these are our next steps that we can have here while we kind of close this out. As I'm over time, I apologize.
No, entirely fine. We appreciate you attending. There's no direct questions from the public right now in the Q&A, so I'll open the questions up to commissioners specifically. And I think you mentioned, from the design, it looked like congestion might be still an issue with this design, but control and safety is what's being improved. Is that correct, Mr. Gambetti Mendez?
Yeah, yep, exactly. So yeah, we expect to see some delays at some intersections, depending on how many vehicles kind of return to the corridor once construction is done on those major projects. But yes, bus speeds and reliability and safety will improve.
Got it. Okay, I see Commissioner May, you have a question?
Yes, it should be a pretty easy one. Just requesting you send me slide deck so that we can share this with members of the public at the conclusion of the meeting. That'd be really helpful. Otherwise, it looks great, and I'm glad to see the focus on bus reliability and pedestrian safety.
Any other questions from commissioners? I have one question from the public.
Yes.
Commissioner Henderson?
Yes. Certainly improving bus reliability is desirable in that H Street corridor, but we can't really talk about improving bus reliability without also talking about public safety. And a number of my constituents have shared with me they just don't feel safe riding that X2. The X9 is slightly better because it's less congested, and the ridership tends to be more related to rush hour, the after work crowd. But in general, the X2 is just not a good bus route. It's not safe, it's not clean. People are continuing to drink on the bus and behave in a manner that undermines public safety. So I want to know what specific steps are being taken to engage with Metro to not only improve bus reliability, but to improve the ridership experience for everyone.
Yeah, so we do coordinate with WMATA actively. I'm not sure specifically if we've talked about rider experience, to be honest, specific to like those issues, but it's something that I can, see if we can talk about in our upcoming meetings and highlight.
Thank you, sir. No other questions from commissioners. I do have a nice one from the public. This is from Allison Stamps. Won't putting the buses in the H Street car lane just get the buses stuck behind that H Street car and slow them down? The cars move so slow. Is there any talk of speeding it up the streetcar. I'm assuming the other cars that have to go really fast on each street. If ridership, its ridership also seems super low. Can you speak to that in terms of ridership, and if there is any talks about getting or changing the H streetcar?
Yeah, I don't know of any talks about getting rid of the H Street streetcar. So there's that last question. The streetcar does move slow as well, yes, and we're, part of this project is a bus priority project, but in this particular corridor, the streetcar is very important as well. So, these improvements will also help the streetcar run faster and more reliably as well, and we'll have that increased enforcement. The public works, vehicles will still be able to kind of push the cars out of the way. I guess the good thing about the bus is that it's not attached to rails. So if there is a streetcar that happens to be broken down or holding for a long time at a stop, or whatever the case may be, the buses are able to leave the lane safely and go around in the vehicle lane, and then get back into the bus lane where they're meant to be. So that is kind of the option for them if the streetcar is held up for whatever reason.
Thank you, sir. And Commissioner McCollum, did you have a question?
No question. We're just out of time.
Okay, well, perfect. That's a good way to end that one. Mr. Gambetti Mendez, we appreciate you coming out today. We apologize on the rush on that presentation. I know it was a little hefty, but we would appreciate even more, just like our secretary said, if you could just send those slides over to us so we can share with the public on our notes for tonight. And if you could just drop your contact information in the Q&A, we would really appreciate it, just so folks can reach out to you directly with anything that they saw that they wanted to address or couldn't address tonight. And we would also appreciate that.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Our next presenter has presented to ANC 5D in the past, and they're providing us an update on some of the work they've been doing in our community. This is the Ward 5 Care Project update by Dr. Ariana Gard. Doctor, are you there? Oh, 1 second, I saw you. Mr. Parliamentarian, how are we doing on time?
Hi.
We are good with time. We're actually on schedule. We are a little bit ahead only because we had one of our MOCAs to not show tonight,
Yes.
but we would like to still reserve that time in the event that they show at the end.
Perfect. Thank you, Parliamentarian. Dr. Gard, good to see you. Thank you for coming out tonight.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here, and you look at you guys saving all the time. So good for you on a Monday. Yeah, I'm really excited to be here. My name is Dr. Gard. Ariana is fine. I'm a professor in the neuroscience, psychology, and survey methodology departments at the University of Maryland. And I'm really excited to tell you a little bit about all of the work we've been doing in Ward 5, and in particular, I'd say Commissioner McCollum and Commissioner Blacknell. We've been talking a lot of your residents, and it's been real fun. So I'm going to share my screen. Please interrupt me. This is not meant to be super formal. Can you all see my screen? Cool.
Yes.
All right. So we might have some new folks, so I'll just breeze real quick through kind of what the Community and Resilient Environments Project really is. But I really want to give you guys some progress on what we've been doing. And in particular, this data is not owned by us. This data is your data. So we really want to know how this can be useful. We have some ideas. We formed a partnership with the DC Public Library, which is very exciting, but we want this to be useful to you. So we hope this is just the start of a conversation, but here we go. So the CARE project is a community-driven project of how neighborhoods shape health and well-being. We include both adolescents and folks across the lifespan in the project. The guiding principles of the project, we are going to start with community needs and interests instead of researcher needs. So, and I'll show you an example of how we did that. All data goes back to you all. This is not our data. And we're not trying to go anywhere. We are really here for the long haul, stable and long-term presence, and not just for research, just to hang out and like form community and form relationships with folks. So what have we done so far? We've done a lot. I just put up one outreach event that we had at Fort Slocum, which was great. The purpose of these events has nothing to do with research. It is just to get people excited about science and trying to understand how we can use science to celebrate neighborhood health. So, you know, we do UMD gear giveaways, we do neuro trivia, and I will say, you know, the neuro trivia was meant to be for children, but adults really like the trivia. It's like, give me another one, give me another one. So I did hear Commissioner Blacknell, you have maybe an event coming up in August. If there are other events that are in your neighborhood, in your community that you want some like family friendly activities or adult friendly activities about science, please let us know. We have room in our summer schedule. We have a team of undergraduates and staff. We bring all of our own stuff. It doesn't cost you anything. And the purpose, again, is just to get people excited about science. So there's no hidden agenda there. Some of the other things we've done, we did interviews with folks. We formed a community advisory board, the household survey, which I'll tell you about, the internship program, and some observations. And again, I know this is a lot, so I will, after the presentation, I'll put my email in the chat, and I'm happy to take folks to coffee, have meetings, whatnot. So just a little example of how this project is community driven. So most of the time, researchers define what healthy is by medical diagnoses. So not having a diagnosis of, for example, COPD or heart disease. And instead of using those types of medical diagnoses, we actually just asked folks, we did about 30 interviews, what does it mean for youth to be healthy and happy? And in this survey, we found that not one community member from wards 4 or 5 mentioned lack of medical diagnoses. People talked about building social skills. We want our kids to be independent, to be engaged, find something they like to do. And so as a result, we really measured health and well-being holistically in the survey. So we measured social engagement, resilience and grit, cultural strengths, trying to move away from this kind of medical researcher defining of health. We also asked about what people like in their neighborhood. I absolutely love this quote from somebody who was in 5D talking about green space. And they said, sometimes I'll go to the Arboretum. That was like the club when COVID first started. Like you would go, you'd get dressed and walk around and you would see, you knew everyone. So this is from somebody in ANC 5D. Kinds of things folks wanted to see: access to green space, neighborly support, and surely lots of concerns about gun violence in 5D as well. So we used these results to design the survey. We developed a community advisory board that was composed of 7 community leaders and caregivers from wards 5 to 15, residents who had been longtime residents of DC. They were compensated for their time, and I am protecting their identity through UMD research protocols. We also did this awesome youth internship program. We hired kids from the neighborhoods and we paid them. They got paid, I think they got paid $20 an hour for 70 hours. They learned how to fill out a timesheet. They learned how to collect data. This is them. They went to the National Museum of Health and Medicine. And they actually killed it. They came up with these research questions like, how does community violence relate to density of liquor stores? They looked at relations between mental health and community violence. Really, they were very engaged. This will continue, but this was part of the project. So what was in this survey? lots of stuff. Is about 30 to 35 minutes. You got $20 to complete it. It was recently finished from October to April 2023, and lots of different questions in here. Neighborhoods that received the survey, we only worked in wards 4 and 5. We selected block groups where at least 10% of the population was teenagers between 10 to 17 years old. We also prioritized ANCs where we made contact with at least one community leader. So 5D was one of those areas, which is great. And we also prioritized neighborhoods where folks identified as Black or African American to try to prioritize their experiences, which are oftentimes ignored in research. So how can this be useful? Our proposal that we are working on with the DC Public Library is recurring data walks, is what we're calling it. We're going to have open office hours where our team members will be available to analyze data with community members and organizations. There'll be adult and youth specific workshops delivered at most DCPL branches. We're also interested in having, 5D specific meetings. The data will include all of the District of Columbia, not just these areas that are collected from the CARE project. But, we really want to know, are there questions you have about resources, perceptions, well-being in 5D? And in what format would the data be useful? So I'll give you a couple flavor. This again just came in. So 97 households responded within block groups that overlap with 5D. Got to give you guys kudos. Response rate is 27%. Typically the response rate for these things is 5 to 10%. So you guys got some really engaged community members, which is awesome to see. About 54% of the sample identified as Black or African American. You can see some of the breakdown there. About 60% identified as or female identifying. We also had a pretty good distribution in terms of education levels. And this is a map that we just showed to the DCPL. I'm sure you guys know, but they're trying to figure out where to put a library. And so they included some questions in the survey about library use. You can see down there in Trinidad, there is, one block group that more heavily uses that library than others. And, we're just in conversation with them about how they can use this data and how we can try to situate a library that will be good for everyone. So that's all I have. I know that was a lot, but I will stop sharing. Again, this is not the end. You are not going to get rid of me. So, I'm around and I'm happy to answer any questions, but that's just a very broad overview of what we've been doing.
What's your phone
Doctor.
number?
So,
Commissioner Henderson asked for the phone number. I'm sorry.
oh yeah, absolutely. I will put all that stuff, and I should just put it
Contact
in the chat.
information. Yeah, if you can put it in
I
the
can't
Q&A.
see it. If you could just say your phone number, that would be helpful.
Well, now you're asking me a question. Do I know my office phone number? It is 301-405-5581. And I'll put all of that in the chat too.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Yeah.
Are there any questions from other commissioners? I don't
So
see
I
any.
actually have a quick
Renee.
question.
Yeah.
So I saw the survey and it was an interesting looking survey. So again, are you actually using this survey in other wards besides Ward 5 and Ward 4?
Yeah, so we just started with Ward 4 and 5. It actually is a pilot, believe it or not. So we didn't have the money to do all of DC. We chose wards 4 and 5 because of the sociodemographic diversity within those wards. And again, we didn't even include all blocks. So that is a limitation, and that the next wave of the project will include everyone. But yeah.
Okay. Any other questions from commissioners? Don't see anything from the public.
Just my same note, Dr. Gard, if you don't mind sharing your presentation, we'll be sure to include it in our meeting minutes.
For sure. So I'm sorry, quick, should I send it to Commissioner Saucedo Guzman?
That's fine. And
Okay.
I'm sure that Commissioner
I'll
Sassoon is
forward
happy
it.
to forward it.
Mhm.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Dr. Guard, and
And
thank you for
can
all
you
the
send
work
it to
you.
everyone?
Go ahead, Commissioner McCollum.
Can you
Yeah,
just
I
send
just,
it to everyone?
Dr. Guard, thank you for being here. I appreciate your time. Would you be available? I know you said that, if we wanted you to come out to participate, I'm planning a couple of resource fairs over the summer. And so I'd really like to work with you with regards to getting you all to come out. We're doing them at different locations. I'm not ready to share those locations yet, but I'd really be interested in speaking with you offline to try to see about getting you all services.
Yeah, we're there. We're trying to recruit the next generation of scientists. So, you say where and we'll be there.
Very good. Thank you so much.
I'll email you. Yeah.
Thank you. Very helpful. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
And thank you, Doctor, for your work and efforts out here in South Ward 5. We appreciate you. Okay, we'll be in touch. Okay, moving on to the remainder of our agenda, we have our voting action items. These voting action items, the presenters have about 10 to 15 minutes to present on their matter, and we have 5 minutes for questions from the public. First up on the stage for tonight's voting action items, we have here our Union Market Stage 2 PUD. I know we have a few folks that will be presenting on this. And I appreciate the developers of this project always having the same name for all your folks that will be presenting, because it's easier to make you a panelist.
Commissioner.
Go ahead, Commissioner Cobb.
Just going to give my usual disclosure because of my day job. I have to recuse from consideration of all zoning matters. So I will, for this and for 1108 Montello, I will turn off my mic and camera, but that doesn't mean I'm ignoring you. It just means I have to recuse myself here.
Thank you, Commissioner. Just a friendly notice to the folks that are presenting tonight. If you are presenting, please use the raise your hand function so I can make you a panelist so we can quickly go through the agenda without any delay. So, go ahead, parliamentarian.
Yeah, real quick, to our presenters tonight, you'll see my hand raised when you have about 3 minutes left in your presentation, and we are really, really going to be watching the clock tonight for a 10 to 15 minute presentation. So at the point of hand raise, you will have gone 12 minutes, and at 15 minutes, we will stop the presentation.
Okay. Sounds good.
Thank you, Mr. Parliamentarian. And yes, Mr. Christensen, whenever you're ready, go ahead.
Okay. Well, first off, I want to just say thank you all commissioners for allowing us the time to talk about our PUD tonight. We appreciate your time and really value your input. So with that, I wanted to just start by saying that we are tonight going to be talking about PUD 1527G, which we refer to as Parcel C2. We have presented this a couple times before, but tonight we wanted to share a little bit more details about the public benefits that are associated with this PUD. We are, as a company, extremely committed to the prosperity and success of the ANC, and we're hugely passionate about this neighborhood. We feel very strongly that the benefits package that we have put together reflects that. As we mentioned previously in other presentations, this is a part of a consolidated PUD, which goes back to 2017. So a lot of the elements that I'm going to talk about tonight were actually negotiated with members of this ANC that are no longer serving, which is why we wanted to kind of share this additional detail with you guys tonight. So starting off with affordable housing. This is just one small component of our public benefits package, but one thing that we wanted to highlight is that the affordability level that we're going to be providing, which is 11%, is significantly higher than what would be developed or what would be provided if this parcel were to be developed matter of right. So, we are the 11% that that was negotiated with Office of Planning and this ANC is already additionally more than what would be provided as a matter of right. And beyond that, we are building the gross square footage of the property that we're going to be building actually yields 2 additional units. So we are providing 2 more units than what was originally accounted for in the phase 1 PUD. And on top of that, we have agreed to deepen the affordability subsidy. So half of the 11% of the units that we're providing, we're going to be at 80% of median family income. We have agreed to increase that from 80% to 60%. So in sort of 2 respects, we are going beyond this original phase 1 PUD proffer that we negotiated, and that I'm going to kind of elaborate more on here. But again, this is one small component of a much broader affordability or benefits package that that we're providing to the community. So I think something that's much more visible than affordable housing, but just as important is public parks and amenity space. So these are the spaces that the community members can look and feel and touch and use on a daily basis. This PUD actually has 3 public parks that are associated with the consolidated PUD. The Florida Avenue Park. So this is the park that is directly to the west of Highline. It's the park here at the very bottom of the screen that actually connects the western part of Union Market up to Union Market, or sorry, the Florida Avenue to the western part of Union Market. And this incorporates an ADA ramp that actually winds back and forth through the park. And every time I've gone to the site, I see this, this park being used as a convenient access into the greater Union Market, and I know that it's it gets a lot of use. Then the second park is the continuation of that. So once you get to the terminus of Florida Avenue Park, you get to what we refer to as the plaza. Some of you might have seen the gantry sculpture at the western edge of the plaza, and that extends all the way to Moore Street. So that kind of public rambla is another public park that has ample seating and is, again, I think very heavily used by the community. And then the final park, which is at the very top here, is Neal Place Park. So this is a little alcove in A2's parcel A2, which we'll go back over here. So A2 is in this section over here, kind of at the terminus of Neal Place. So if you're looking down Neal Place, you will see this park here at the top. It's a little parklet, but in totality, these 3 parks were valued at roughly $3 million. Substantial benefit package that that we constructed and financed and provided to the community. In addition to beyond just providing the public parks, we took a lot of effort and a lot of time and a lot of care went into the design of these parks. We engaged some really phenomenal landscape architects to help us with the implementation of that, including Oculus and Lee and Associates, who are both just amazing designers. They incorporated some deaf space principles into these parks, which we got recognition and support from Gallaudet University in the creation of these parks. I think that that Gallaudet is an integral part of ANC 5D, and we wanted to make sure that constituency felt comfortable using these spaces, and we implemented a lot of design features that allow that to occur. Something that's a little bit less visible than the public parks are the infrastructure improvements that we have agreed to, or that we implemented as a part of this consolidated PUD. One of the big pushes back from Office of Planning back when there wasn't really that much development in Union Market at all, was the continuation of the street grid between Neal Place and Morse. So all of the streets that you see over here at the western terminus of Union Market are private, and they are all completely funded and self-performed by the Union Market, the Market Terminal Association, the conglomerate of owners that have developed these parcels. That the construction of those spaces roughly resulted in about 2/3 of an acre of pedestrian accessible public improvement. So really just a very, very large scale improvement to the pedestrian experience in Union Market. In addition to that, all of the utility work, water lines, electricity lines, gas lines were all funded and constructed by as a part of the proffers for this this PUD package as well. Some of the things that are forthcoming, and some of these some have been installed, but at the intersection of 4th Street and Morse, I know that's a notoriously difficult intersection. We donated roughly $300,000 to DDOT for the construction of a traffic signal to be installed at that intersection. I've walked through that intersection many times myself. It's very chaotic. I know DDOT is currently going through their design phase. I'm not exactly sure on the timing of when that traffic light is going to be installed, but I can certainly look into it and follow up with the ANC if that's something that is of interest. Additionally, we've been working with Capital Bike Share, and we have paid for the installation and operation of a new Capital Bike Share station that will be located on Morse, along with 1 year of operations for that bike share station. We've also installed curbside parking for car sharing, for car share service in our section of Union Market, and those parking spaces are operational. I've seen car share services there, so I know that that is something that is providing benefit to the community. And then lastly, all of the apartments that get developed have a TDM package and a TDM coordinator. A welcome letter is required to be sent to all future residents, illustrating the different modes of public transportation to make sure that they're utilizing to the fullest potential all of the resources at their disposal to make sure they're using the public transportation infrastructure to the fullest extent. So additionally, beyond that, there are several, well, actually all of the buildings that are built under the consolidated PUD are required to be LEED Gold certified. So this is we're providing a level of environmental sustainability that is above and beyond sort of the baseline standard, and we feel goes a long way to reduce our environmental footprint and just be good stewards to the environment. Additionally, there are employment opportunities that are required that we are providing, that all of our parcels are providing. So we all are required to, and when I say required, this is a result of the PUD benefit package. So we've negotiated these PUD benefit packages to create,
You were in this meeting? Oh, thank you.
So the first source, what First Source is it is an employment program that incentivizes and requires general contractors to hire from within Washington, D.C. So this is really a benefit to DC residents for these construction jobs that are created as a result of the apartment building projects that happen in these communities. maker spaces. So the consolidated PUD as a whole dedicated just under 5,000 square feet, 4,500 square feet of total space to artists and makers. These spaces are provided to the community at reduced rents. So this is really, a fantastic opportunity for somebody who's looking to get a start in retail and brick and mortar and have a space that they can call their own and really produce something and have art that's really locally sourced in the community. We really like this benefit. We think this adds a lot to the community and adds a lot of character. And the last benefit is the Metro Branch Trail contribution. So the Metro Branch Trail doesn't technically run through Union Market, but we reached out across the train tracks, and this was a request from NOMA to improve the Metro Branch Trail, and we made a $10,000 contribution to the improvement of the Metro Branch Trail, which I've seen the recent park looks fantastic. I think it's getting a lot of use, and we think that money was very well spent. So with that, hopefully that kind of outlines in a little bit more detail the background and the history of our PUD and the significant benefits that that we're going to be providing. We think all of the benefits that we're providing are super, super important, and we really spent a lot of time kind of working with Office of Planning and the ANC and getting feedback and putting together this package. So, we felt that previous presentations, we didn't quite do this package justice in presenting it. So hopefully this shines a little bit more light on the history of the project. With that, I will open it up to questions.
Thank you, Mr. Todd. Just a friendly reminder to the public, if you have a question on this project, please drop your question in the Q&A so we can ask the question on your behalf. I will ask if commissioners have questions to use the raise your hand feature. And just a quick question to clarify for the public, Mr. Todd, can you clarify what exactly you all are asking from the ANC tonight, and what would be the next steps in this project so the public is aware?
Sure. Yes. So tonight we are looking for a vote of support. We're looking for the ANC to vote to support our application for I guess this would be, so this PUD is, there's a little bit of a nuance here. We are asking for a modification from an approved PUD that is currently approved as office and converting it to what was originally approved in the consolidated PUD, it's residential. Well, actually, sorry, let me back up a little bit. Office and residential were both approved in the consolidated PUD. We went down previously a path to build this as office, which didn't pan out, and now we are looking to convert that to residential. Both were approved in the consolidated first phase PUD. We're looking for support for the modification to approve this back to residential from the ANC. And the next steps would be, we have filed the application for the PUD in February, and we are currently waiting for a set down date from Office of Planning. And we have not gotten that yet, but that would be the next sort of meeting that we have with Office of Planning.
Okay, thank you for clarifying. Commissioner Henderson, I think your hand is raised.
Yes. Mr. Christensen, first, thank you for your presentation. Just very quickly, I think, well, one, I like the affordable housing, the IZ numbers that you provided. That was heartening. I think the facade needs some further study. I still say it's just way too modern, and the jutting balconies, I think, need some redesign to better integrate with the existing developments in that area. But I want to focus the majority of my comments, and I will reach out to the Office of Planning because I think it's just a little too modern. But I want to focus the majority of my time on the 3 parks and ask that you and your staff just really look at those 3 parks very carefully to make sure that the design is very useful to the community without eventually becoming burdensome to the community. And what do I mean by burdensome? We don't want, while we want tree canopies, we want plantings, we want openness, we want creativity. We don't want and we don't need spaces that can easily become places for people to hide and engage in illegal activities. And typically where there's a tight tree canopy or seating that's close to trees in a way that encourages congregating for negative purposes, we want to look at that. So it's a careful balance to be able to make a space open, inviting, accessible without impeding public safety. So if you would look at those 3 parks again and make some additional recommendations, that would be great. But I'm going to be reaching out to the Office of Planning because I don't see any changes in the facade since the last time you presented. But again, thank you for your efforts.
Okay. Yeah, that's really very, very good feedback. I 100% agree with you about your comments about safety for the park. So we can certainly look into that. I will just make the comment that the parks are already constructed. So, to the extent that we can further improve them, we can certainly explore that. But making wholesale changes to the design at this point is difficult because those 3 parks are fully constructed at this point. But your point about public safety is absolutely on point. So we will definitely look into that.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner McCollum, you have a question?
Yes, real quick. Mr. Christensen, thank you so much. I really enjoyed your presentation tonight. I echo what Commissioner Henderson stated regarding the affordable housing. I too want to make sure that this is sensible development and that we're coming in and we're really, really studying the community. I appreciate you all going back to the drawing board there. I did know your slide, it stated that you all, or maybe the owners had entertained a contract with management for those parks. And so I'd be curious to see what those contracts would look like. Will it be open bidding for small business entities in the cities to actually get those contracts, or what avenues are they going to take to getting the management for those parks, and what will be the safety measures that they're going to employ to make sure that the parks are secure and safe? But outside of that, I really did enjoy your presentation. I like that it was pedestrian friendly. And it does seem like that you all are being sensible now to the community with regards to what you're building there. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Commissioner McCollum. I appreciate your comments. I will look into those questions and I will get back to you. I believe that the contracts for the parks are something that is handled by our the asset management companies for the buildings, the surrounding buildings, but I don't know if that is. I think that we might have made some changes in the past, so let me get back to you on that. And again, echoing kind of my Commissioner Henderson's comments about safety, if these parks are not safe, then this doesn't work for the residents who want to live in these buildings. It is beneficial for everybody, the ANC, us, the community as a whole, to make sure that these parks are as safe as possible. So I can give you 100% assurance that that is a top priority for us.
And I appreciate hearing that, but But just if I could put a but there, safety is definitely and certainly my greatest concern, but it's also the maintenance and the upkeep of the parks as well. Because if we're not upkeeping the parks and making sure that they're still in the condition that they were in the beginning, then it's easily a place or a playground for bad actors. So right there with safety, I'd also be curious to know, how high we have maintenance and upkeep.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Mr. Todd, just two comments from the public on this project. Reginald Shaw Richardson, just a comment, while the Union Market Dog Park, while the Union Market Dog Park advocate can't do about, I think the question or comment is regarding the dog park in Union Market. Were any of those parks that you mentioned open to discussion and potentially being an actual dog park for the neighborhood?
It's a great question. So what we're looking at right now on the screen is C2, which is where the current temporary park is located. And as a part of the consolidated PUD, I have mentioned this on some of my previous presentations, but the PUD was approved in 2017, and there was always the understanding that there are 6 parcels here. It's going to take time to develop all these parcels. So in the plan, the rollout plan for this PUD, there was the assumption that some of these parcels would be temporary parks. So the dog park was always planned to be temporary. That is what we are going to be, converting into this building is that dog park. So that unfortunately is going to go away.
Okay, thank you for clarifying. Commissioner McCollum, you raised your hand again?
We're out of time.
Perfect. Okay. In regards to this project, I do move that that ANC 5D supports the stage 2 of this PUD here at Union Market. Could I get a second in support of that?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner May. Those in favor of supporting the second stage PUD of this discussion by Commissioner Henderson?
Yes, Mr. Christensen. So I think your project is moving in the right direction, but I just don't understand the inconsistent, balconies. They add an element to your facade that's a little unsettling. So if we were to support your project moving forward, would you take a look at it, either increasing the number of balconies, because the fact that they are slanted gives a very starkly futuristic modern look that frankly looks a little out of place. So I'm thinking maybe if you added more balconies, maybe you could increase the rents, maybe that would increase the financial viability of the project. But if you would be willing to take a look at that, I would feel more comfortable with really just telling you to go forward.
Well, let me, if we have time, I guess I want to kind of address that a little bit further. So I think that maybe this particular view that we're looking at is not doing justice to the context. What we're looking at, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4 buildings in the surrounding, and none of them have balconies. Historically, and actually OP, if you guys have, if you talk to OP about this, they're always pushing for more balconies. They were very, very excited when we showed them this. And one of the reasons why you typically don't see balconies in DC projects is because of the setbacks. And we actually, in this particular project, we are not building out to the full envelope specifically to allow these balconies, because balconies are we feel very strongly that balconies are uniquely residential and provide just a better living experience for the residents. What you don't see here in this photo, so this, if you can see my mouse over here, this is an office building. And then these two on either side.
Mr. Christensen, we don't see your screen right now.
Oh, you don't, I'm sorry.
You can just share it again.
Okay.
Parliamentarian, I asked that we keep time.
Okay, I'll be very quick.
We have about 30 seconds left here.
I'll be very brief. So if you look down the street, down Union Street, this is the sister building at the gantry that has balconies.
Your presentation.
Can you not see my screen?
No, and you don't have to go through that.
Yes, we can see
way. I'm actually suggesting that you include more balconies to make your project look more balanced.
I see. Okay. We can talk to our architect. We're definitely willing to have that conversation. It's early enough in the project that we can have those conversations, and we can talk to the architect to see if maybe there is something that we can do with the proportion and the ratio of balconies. If that's something that this ANC feels very strongly about, then we can look into that.
Thank you, Mr. Christensen. Back to the vote on the floor. Again, I move that ANC 5D supports this stage 2 of this project, and it was seconded by Commissioner May. We had our discussion. All in favor? I'll go down a roll call on this one just so we have the vote on record. 5D03. Can we get your vote on this motion?
Yes.
5D04.
Abstain.
5D05. I say aye, yes. 5D06.
Conditional yes with more balconies.
Thank you, Commissioner. 5D07.
Yes.
5D08.
Yes.
Thank you. 5D09.
Yes.
Okay, the ayes have it, and the motion carries. We'll go ahead and support this project on behalf of ANC 5D. Thank you, Mr. Christensen, for coming out tonight, and we'll make sure to include on that letter of support our one of the commissioner's requests for more balconies. So we'll be in touch on that exact request.
And Mr.
Thank you, guys.
Can I ask for you to share the presentation with all of us as well?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Sorry, just stopping this participant screen share.
Mr. Chair, we're slightly behind on time now. So on this next presentation, we're really going to hold to the guns.
Thank you. Stuck on full screen. Okay, moving on with the agenda, we have here Mr. Carlos Iglesias presenting on the streetscapes project on in regards to 801 17th Street Northeast. I see that Mr. Iglesias is here. If anyone is joining Mr. Iglesias for tonight's presentation, please use the raise your hand feature so we can promote you as a panelist. Okay. I also asked that the folks for the BZA case 20900 on 1108 Montello Avenue also use the raise their hand feature so we can promote you as panelists. So you all present next. Okay, Mr. Iglesias, whenever you're ready, go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Carlos Iglesias with JMI Developers, LLC. I am here to present the application for 801 17th Street Northeast, tracking number 414968 from the DDOT TOPS database submission for a public space improvement around the perimeter of the site that will be going to the Public Space Committee. Let me share my screen. If you bear with me one moment. With me should be Peter Bronneler, representing the ownership entity for the application. Peter, are you present?
I'm here. Thanks, Carlos.
So we presented last month to the ANC committee, albeit it was kind of in a hurry, because we were always obviously behind time. We were asked to come back and present again to take a vote on the action of the improvements that we are doing here in public space. I will defer to Mr. Bronneler to walk you through quickly what we are proposing.
Sure, appreciate that, Carlos. And hopefully a quick presentation will be welcomed. We did present last time, so I will run through the sheets relative quick fashion and just kind of highlight some of the questions that we answered and some of the design features that speak to those questions. So if you can see on the left of your screen here was the existing building, the Developing Family Center, which was a 1.5 story building along the alley with surface parking lot along 17th and I Streets. And on the right-hand side of your screen is the proposed development with the proposed streetscape colored on the perimeter of the site to show those improvements. To focus in on a few of the questions that we received had to do with the alley conditions coming in off of I Street that connects through back to 18th Street. Yeah, thanks, Carlos. So what we did here was overlay the existing building footprint in red and then show a picture on the top left of the existing conditions and then show here on the right-hand side some of the things that we did to set our building back
Seems like we're
compared to
having technical difficulty. Can we just move on to the next presentation?
Oh, I'm sorry. Am I breaking up?
You're fine. Continue.
Okay. Sorry. Just let me know if I'm having connection issues. So I was just speaking about the alley conditions and compared to the existing building footprint, how our building is actually setting back and widening the effective alley condition. We're also adding additional paving along the alley to—
I can't hear the presentation.
Commissioner Henderson, we request that you check your audio settings. We were able to hear the presentation.
My audio, I hear you fine. I can't hear the presentation.
I can hear the presenter.
Carlos, do you want to try taking over? I'm apologize if there's an issue on my end.
Sure. Commissioner Henderson, can you hear me? This is Carlos Iglesias. Commissioner Henderson.
Commissioner Henderson, I request that you disconnect from your audio settings and reconnect. Gentlemen, you can continue.
I don't have any difficulty hearing you. I have difficulty hearing the presenter, and that's on your end.
No, Commissioner, please check your audio settings. Just again, requesting to reset your audio settings. Continue, gentlemen.
Go ahead, Peter.
Okay. So there were several questions about the alley conditions.
Gentlemen, just if I can pause this for just 1 second.
Sure.
Mr. Chair, let's check with all of the commissioners just to ensure that there's not an audio issue with all of the commissioners before we move forward. So if all of the commissioners can hear the presentations, if you would, please raise your hands.
I can hear you, Commissioner McCullough.
Okay. So, Mr. Chair, you will have to, we
have to continue. Commissioner Henderson, again, please reset your audio settings.
There's nothing wrong with my audio settings.
We're requesting for you to reset your audio settings because you're clearly expressing that you have issues with audio. Continue, gentlemen, please. We don't have time to spare.
Okay. So that was the main point on the alley was improving alley conditions, effectively widening the alley, and then just showing circulation in the alley as well. You see our garage entrance on the bottom right-hand side of the plan. Other questions had to do with bike racks along the streetscape, corner of the entrances of the building. Thank you, Carlos. So we went ahead and we actually added the amount of bike racks that we had shown originally. So the bike racks you see here at the corner of 17th and H and at the corner of 17th and I, all adds up to about 30 bike spaces that can be accommodated at the entrances. And that is not including the indoor bike storage rooms that we have on the garage level within the building. Other than that, you can see pretty clearly the landscape improvements that will be proposed to install along the building frontage and along the sidewalk frontage, as well as a plaza area along the main building entry. And to one question that had to do with a potential pickup and drop off, we did have a conversation with one representative from DDOT. So Carlos, I'll let you speak to that in summary quickly.
Sure. I spoke with Ms. Rita Obusamre, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, today at Office of Planning in regards to the pickup drop-off location that the commissioners had expressed concern about, and providing maybe some additional locations, such as kind of like a cul-de-sac area. I've checked with Ms. Rita from Office of Planning. She said she could not support such a proposed design with that pickup drop-off zone. I've spoken to Tiffany Tenbrook at DDOT Construction Permitting Division. They said she confirmed also that DDOT no longer usually supports those kinds of cul-de-sac pickup drop-off zones for residential apartment houses. Typically, it is reserved now only for hotels. Other than that, and us proposing these two pickup drop-off zones, there is not much of another option that we could provide to such services servicing the property.
So other than that, that pretty much concludes the re-presentation. You all heard most of that the first time around. But again, we're happy to answer any questions, open up for discussion at this point.
Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. Just to clarify again, please state what your interest is for tonight's meeting, and the next steps in terms of this project, to clarify for the public.
Sure. We're looking for support from ANC 5D for our public space improvement application that we have before DDOT. Prior to us presenting at the May 25th hearing at the Public Space Committee.
And the next stages in this project in terms of the public's awareness?
Presently, the project is undergoing sheeting, shoring, and excavation. The next steps would be construction of the foundation to grade, and then construction of the rest of the building beyond grade for a 325 unit apartment house. Matter of right project.
Thank you. And just to clarify to the public, this project is being presented to the ANC in terms of the streetscape. It's not a project being presented to the ANC in terms of the residential units that they're building. As Mr. Iglesias made it clear, it's a matter of right project. Okay. Questions from the commissioners. I have 5D07. Your hand is raised. Commissioner McCollum. You're muted, Commissioner. I'm sorry, we haven't been able to hear you.
I do apologize. Thank you all for coming again tonight. I do appreciate it much. I will not belabor this matter. I'm concerned mostly with the street space. So I do have a question. I note that I see one space that's designated as a drop-off space pending DDOT approval, and then I see approximately 10 on-street parking spaces. I see that on I Street. And then I think I'm seeing on H Street, one drop-off space pending approval. And I guess that's maybe about 6 on-street parking. So one of the things is, I know you were saying that you spoke with those individuals at DDOT, and they said that, I guess maybe the cul-de-sac type drop off is reserved for hotels, but was there any meeting of the minds to talk about possibly working with Capital Bike Share to put like the bike racks there in the street? My concern is not necessarily so much of providing the space for parking. It's more so the safety for the pedestrians there, because I just see this as really being an area where cars are going to be stopping, pedestrians are going to be walking, and there's going to be a collision at some point with all of the development and these big buildings that are close in this area. So I understand that what they've told you is that they usually don't support this, but I would like to see you all come to the table and creatively and innovatively come up with some ideas of what we can do on the street to remedy and support some type of pedestrian safety, because just saying that, is really nothing we can do, I'm not able to support it.
Okay. No, I appreciate that comment. I mean, in terms of the cul-de-sac, Commissioner McCollum, I mean, I think part of DDOT's concern, and I might share this concern, is you actually end up getting more vehicle and pedestrian overlap, right? Because cars are actually going in off the street and crossing the sidewalk area. So what you end up getting a driveway effect where pedestrians and cars are crossing more often, right, than if there's just a pickup on the street area. I think that's part of DDOT's concern and why they don't want to see it in all of the apartment buildings. So again, I'll let Carlos speak to his conversations with DDOT, but in terms of, identifying a space or 2 spaces to, put clear signage and, actually see space at the entrances for pickup and drop off, I think that might be an effective solution. It could be a rather easy solution, but you're right. I'm not saying it's the only solution.
Yeah, and just, I mean, to be completely honest, we've seen some other, I know this is by right, but or the development is by right, but we just had a presentation right before you all where with their curve side, they really were really in tune to the neighborhood. And I just want to make sure that we don't just stop at DDOT is not going to allow it, so we don't really have anything. I'd really like for us to be innovative and come up with something on both of H Street and I Street as it relates to this. I was there, not on the property or on site, but I was at the building that's adjacent last 2 weeks ago. And on 17th Street, we witnessed cars coming and going and stopping in between the 2 crosswalks between H Street and I Street. And that's where I think it's going to be a lot of cars just backing up there. And then when cars to continue to turn onto I Street or H Street, that's where I feel like we're going to have most of issues as it relates to pedestrian safety.
No, I appreciate that feedback. I think that should be a focus of our conversation during the public space meeting. Thank you.
Gentlemen, a question on top of that. Have you all proposed donating funds to DDOT to make those crosswalks safer by, if we can't get this drop-off pickup zone situated that we as an ANC really do think it's important to address, just knowing the high-speed traffic that goes on 17th Street specifically. Have you all maybe proposed to assist by, making those crosswalks safer? Allowing vehicles to be more alert and aware of the traffic that goes on those crosswalks and the space?
Yeah, I mean, we're happy to have that conversation. We obviously needed to have this conversation before we even get to the public space hearing. But I think that's going to be definitely top of our mind and top of DDOT's mind as well.
And remind us, when is that public space hearing?
May 25th.
Thank you. I think Commissioner Henderson, you have your hand raised.
Yes. So I agree with Commissioner McCollum regarding the comments, particularly the comments about let's look at let's be more creative and innovative. I'm really concerned about the vehicular pedestrian opportunities for overlap And I want to hear a more discussion from the DDOT representative that said no. I think we need to have that conversation with the community. So yes, this project is in 5D07, but it certainly it greatly impacts my constituents in 5D06 and to a lesser extent 5D08, because our community is fluid. People have relatives. While they may live in 5D06 or 5D08, they have relatives and friends that live in 5D07. So we want to encourage, pedestrian, walking and certainly looking at making our communities more walkable, yet safer. So I think this needs further study, but there needs to be further study in the community context. So I want to hear a commitment from Mr. Iglesias and the team that you will come out and have at least 2 meetings in the community, and not just a separate 5D07 or a 5D06 meeting, but just 2 opportunities for as many neighbors as possible to come out, weigh in, hear the presentation, hear the concerns, and to offer suggestions, because we also have talented professionals that live in our community that would be able to add some innovative ideas to minimizing that vehicular pedestrian overlap that we've heard about tonight.
I'm happy to join and present at any meeting you wish, Commissioner Henderson, with the community. I agree that if there's a grave concern for pedestrian and vehicular overlap in relation to the safety, additional discussions should, and I'm happy to have them.
Thank you. I'm not having difficulty now. Could you just state your phone number so that for all of us, not just for me,
Sure.
but for everyone, and we'll be reaching out to you.
Sure. It's 202-964-3728.
And thank you so much.
No problem.
Commissioner Mayes, you have a question. Will be the final one from the commission, and we have one from the public. Mr. Parliamentarian asks that you keep us on time.
Absolutely, I'll be quick. I was going to suggest, given the concerns expressed, that perhaps a suitable approach might be a walkthrough of the site, and perhaps we could include members of the commission and also potentially a representative from DDOT in that conversation to review your streetscape plans and the pickup drop-off zones. Because I think I certainly share the concern about wanting to make sure that it's safe for residents of your building, but also the surrounding neighborhoods.
Sure. Have no objection to that. Happy to schedule something. I'm sorry. The chair has my email contact and phone number contact if we want to start a conversation, separate email for that, and schedule a meeting, and then I can reach out to DDOT and see who from their offices can join us to do a walk of the site.
Thank you, Mr. Iglesias. Final question, one question from the public, Jenna Pai, just clarification, what's the intended use of this building and how is stormwater management being addressed?
Sure. The intended use of the property is a 325 unit, 7-story plus penthouse and 1 level of underground parking apartment house, full apartment house. It is not a mixed use building. Stormwater management is being designed, and proposed design is with a combination of green roof and a bioretention facility located in this bottom right-hand corner, which will be fed back into the property, into the bioretention facilities on site that the property will have.
We're out of time.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Parliamentarian. Gentlemen, we can proceed in one of 2 ways. We can go ahead and vote and make a decision as a commission on how to support this, or we could table this so we can see if we can get some leeway on our concerns as a commission. I hope that we're leaning towards tabling. I know you guys said you have a hearing this month that hopefully can be rescheduled, but at this point, I don't believe the commission is in full support of the streetscape project.
Surprisingly, I actually agree with that.
Mr. Iglesias?
My question is the the ANC committee leaning towards not supporting it because of concerns regarding the existing conditions and what could be proposed due to additional pedestrians with this building, and how that could be mitigated by additional, I guess, crosswalks or safety in the crosswalk?
If I can do a brief just to say something, I believe that, Commissioner May has raised a good point. Commissioner Henderson has raised good points. And I think that, and I certainly have raised points. I think that we need to take all of that and collectively come up with something before we can move forward. And I think the best step is, so that we meet Commissioner Henderson's, Commissioner May, and mine, is we need to get DDOT out here. We need to also have you all on the ground, and then we need to be there as a commission, and we need to invite the residents and the neighbors, and together we need to go out and observe this space before we decide what to do. Because I'm telling you, it's a very, very, very active space. And I don't want to support anything before we've decided, or we've at least seen it when it's active.
And just on top of that, like, I shop at the Ross, I shop at the Aldi. I'm on that space a lot. You're bringing in more residents into that little plot of land. These concerns are valid. And again, I don't believe that the commission is ready to support this at this time. So I would ask that we table it for next month. And in that meantime, that we do get these concerns addressed and work collaboratively so we can support it.
And I have no problem working with you all as the ANC commissioner here. I have no problem working with you all to get a walkthrough schedule with the commission and the commission and you all and some of the constituents and DDOT.
Understood.
Can I ask maybe a silly logistical question, but do we need to have the public space meeting to get DDOT feedback, or do you think they would be willing to come out to have this meeting prior to the public space meeting? And maybe that's a question for Carlos, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't foresee DDOT saying no. It's just a matter of scheduling them to come out and doing this.
Okay.
I think we need more than a walkthrough. So I initially said 2 meetings. So maybe one could be a walkthrough, but we need the opportunity for people to sit down, particularly elderly residents, to sit down, hear from the DDOT representatives, and to be able to discuss ways that we can mitigate pedestrian traffic overlap in a way that promotes safety.
So for the sake of time, I do move that we table this discussion to next month's meeting. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner McCollum. Those in favor of tabling this matter to next month's meeting, say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, the motion carries. Mr. Iglesias will be in touch in regards to this matter. Thank you guys for presenting tonight.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. We have our next presenters on BZA case 20900 at 1108 Montello Avenue. Thank you, gentlemen, for being right and ready to present. You have the floor. These folks are presenting on a BZA case on a project. And whenever you're ready, go ahead.
Hey, everyone. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
All right, great. I'm going to share my screen. I had trouble last time, but I did a fresh install of Zoom, so I'm hoping everything's okay now. It was crashing every time I shared. Try this again. Can everyone see that all right?
Yes.
All right. I think we're off to the races then. My name is Adam Crane with Two Plies. We're an architecture firm providing services in DC. Talking about a BZA case at 1108 Montello Avenue. I think it's also has an address of 1140 Florida. Either way, it's on the corner of Montello and Florida. Quick overview of the existing site plan here and the reason why we are going to BZA. It's an end unit here, again, on Montello and Florida on the corner. There's an existing curb cut here that we were hoping would allow us to access parking at the rear. In our proposed site plan, where we're requesting DDOT approval from some bay windows and window wells to wrap the corner. They've actually required us to close that curb cut. So it's impossible to provide on-site parking. because there's no alley here and no curb cut. So to basically, we're coming to request relief for parking because we can't provide it on site. So just a quick overview of what we're doing. 9-unit mixed, 9-unit residential with a ground floor retail. So technically a mixed use project. Site plan here, we're showing some bay windows that we're doing as projections to wrap the corner there. Another bay window towards the back. Back here will be a trash area that we'll be providing screening around. We don't have a size on the trash, but really that whole rear portion can expand or contract as to accommodate as much trash from recycling as needed. We are providing a short-term bike rack at the front, and DDOT's required us to provide that, so we're showing that at the street in Florida. Rendering here, it's a conceptual rendering of the project. You see the bay window quite prominent. There'll be an entrance back here, another entrance on this side. Overview of the plans here. Really, I guess starting at the first floor, you see this blue area is what we have sectioned off for retail. I do not believe the owner of the project has a lease in place, so I can't tell you what kind of store or shop or coffee shop is going to go in there because it's not decided yet. In the future, we may change some of the entrance locations. We do show a shared entrance here with the residents. We do have the option to make those entrances access in different ways over this window well there. So I think we'll kind of respond to the kind of tenant that signs in the future, but as of now, that is not dictated. As a residential overview, we're showing 2 units in the basement, 1 unit at the rear of the first floor. Moving up to the second floor, we've got 3 units here, 4, 5, and 6. On the third floor, another 3 units and one of the bedrooms for unit 6. And those 3 units of the third extend to the penthouse level. So a total of 9 units overall. We are providing a long-term bike room as zoning requires there at the cellar, so residents can store their bikes safely inside. Just some elevations here looking at the side. We're going for a lot of glazing on that bay window in the corner. It's a secondary entrance on the side. Front facade, you'll see that other entrance that's leading up to the residence units and can be shared by the retail space if that's what they choose. Section drawing showing color-coded unit split up. Everything else is somewhat repetitive, but we are happy to answer any questions that anyone has. Again, our main focus of relief here is just the required 1 space that would need to be provided that we cannot provide on site. So that's why we're here presenting to you guys.
Thank you, gentlemen. Just to clarify again, your exact, I guess your goal, I think you're mentioning as a parking space, your goal or need from the ANC tonight and the next steps in this project for the public's awareness.
Sure.
Sure.
So basically what we're requesting is a letter of support to go to the BZA. And we don't think it's a big ask just because it's really 1 parking space that we're asking relief for. And it's really in hardship because DDOT is taking away our curb access or curb cut.
Thank you. So commissioners, if you have a question, feel free to use the raise your hand function from the public. I see we have a question already from the public. Please drop your questions in the Q&A so we can ask your questions.
I have a question.
Commissioner Henderson.
Yes, just a quick question. Well, your project looks very attractive. I like the glassiness, the glazing, but I'm concerned about bird strikes. So we want to make sure that we look at the most favorable environmental design. So have you looked at glazing to minimize bird strikes? And also I want to be clear. So you're going to the BZA to exempt you from that 1 space, or you're asking to get that 1 space because they don't want to provide you, they want you to remove the curb cut. So I just want to make sure I understand it.
It's relief from having to provide it because we are unable to get it. So even if we requested, DDOT is going to so let me back up. Anytime you submit to DDOT for a permit for anything, and in this case, it was the bay windows, the window wells beyond the property line public space, they review everything. So they review it as if it was, a fresh canvas. Sometimes that's fair and sometimes it's not fair to the project. So in this case, we weren't submitting to change the curb cut, but because they were looking at the bay windows, they also look at other things, and they said we had to relinquish the curb cut and close it in. So we're asking for relief from not having provided because we can't. VDOT wouldn't allow us.
Okay, and what about the glazing to minimize bird strikes?
Haven't even thought about it, but I will bring that up with my client to see if there's a different window that can be spec'd to minimize that.
Yeah, it's the glazing. So the glazing is certainly very attractive, to consumers and to the market as a whole. But we want to make sure that people are not enjoying that glassiness while watching our little bird friends splatter into it endlessly.
Sure. Yeah, I'll bring it up with the client.
Okay, any other questions from the commission? I do have some concerns and issues with the project. First, the traffic safety concern. In terms of the visibility from Montello Avenue, the visibility from the proposed design will be a transit pedestrian issue. Folks won't be able to really see oncoming traffic from Florida Avenue, and Florida Avenue is really a speedway for folks that are comfortable and know Florida Avenue very well. Here in Trinidad, we've already had a lot of issues with designs, traffic designs or development designs that have made it difficult for vehicles, whether it's buses or cars, not being able to fully see oncoming traffic. And I see this as an issue with my understanding, there's a visual exclusion triangle. DDOT has a rule that 25 feet from each side of the intersection, nothing can intrude or be placed inside that space. And I think this one intrudes on that. Can you talk about that?
Sure. I guess I'd start by saying there's a traffic light here, a four-way stop. So if this was a four-way stop sign, I think that'd be different than if there was, the mechanically controlled traffic light that does exist here. I guess regarding the triangular issue, our DDOT permit has already been in for many months and through several rounds of reviews. As of right now, they've approved this as is. So there is no DDOT issue with views around the corner that I know of.
No, I understand. I'm not surprised they approved it because they approved all the other bad ones that we have in Trinidad. So I'm just asking, have you studied that? Because it's a concern. It's a real concern. Okay. And then the trash receptacle concern that I have, you have the trash next to the window wells. Are those window wells technically units?
Yeah, that will be provided for a bedroom in the cellar unit back here.
Next to a bedroom.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, we'll provide some kind of screening or separation to make that a little more enjoyable and livable out, of course.
Have you potentially designed or try to put it somewhere else? Because in the summer, whether you put a screen there or not, it's not going to make it really that enlightening and fine for the people that happen to live down there.
Oh, I agree. I really think as far as where we can put it, it's going to be somewhere here in the rear yard. That's really the only location for it.
So there's no real way to prevent the odor from permeating into those lower units?
Some kind of screening or separation. Yeah, I think it's, as of right now, the only other way would be to bring it into the building. And we'd have a pretty significant loss in square footage if we did that. So as of right now, it's going to be back there. And there's a lot of projects we do in DC where, there's surface stored trash in the rear that has some kind of adjacency to a window in a unit. That's just kind of how these projects lay out. Not ideal, I agree, but it happens.
Well, it's a 9-unit building, so that's gonna be a lot of trash. And speaking from experience, when I used to live right behind the Denny's when I lived on 16th Street, and during the summer it was not pleasant. I was happy to have a home, but it was just not pleasant. So I'm looking at this and I just see a similar situation to the folks that you might be living down there.
I agree with you.
Specifically during the summer. Was there no reason why an elevator wasn't potentially placed in this building? I see
not
that
required by code.
Right, and I see that it's an accessibility issue where anyone, any folks that need that have disabilities or accessibility issues, it pretty much just limits them to these bottom floors where you're going to have odor permeating into their windows. So there was no talks of potentially putting an elevator.
No, well, if putting an elevator in here, along with taking up, a pretty significant amount of square footage on every floor, it's also going to cost about an extra $100,000. So what we'd be doing is basically voluntarily making the project less, or it's not going to perform a lot more poorly financially. It'll be a lot less efficient building, all for a voluntary change that isn't required by code. So I don't see how that would happen. I'd say most projects you see come across your desk, no one's going to volunteer to do that just for financial reasons.
In a follow-up from our COW meeting, sir, we requested some examples of units or buildings that have a similar facade to what you're presenting. As a Trinidad resident, I acknowledge that South Trinidad right there off Florida Avenue has a specific historic facade, and this one kind of seems like it's a sore thumb. It looks pretty, but it kind of takes away from the traditional unit buildings, that the row houses that we have there.
Okay. Yeah, we'll take a look at some of the
Yeah,
projects you're
Adam.
talking about if you want to send them over.
Adam, I sent you, if you pull up, and hi, everybody, this is Eugene Pravarni from the development team in the ownership group. I sent you a picture of the building next door, Adam, that I think would be helpful to pull up.
Sure.
While you're doing it.
We have about 2 minutes left for this.
Okay.
Thank you, Palmer.
Look, perfect. I think it's important to point out, anytime we do one of these projects, like this is a relatively small site on a corner, right? Kind of urban infill, 2,500 square foot corner site. Like if we had a 1 acre site, a little more room, like this isn't the exact most ideal, perfect design for every single unit. And we understand that. I think it's the pragmatics of a site like this and a piece of real estate like this that we try to find the best design that we can that kind of works for the site and is financially feasible today. So we totally understand that, look, in an ideal world, I'd have an elevator going up. We'd have a rooftop deck. We'd have trash inside in a compactor with kind of smell screenings. We do some different things. But when we're dealing with a site that's this kind of small, financial viability is something that we just have to be very cognizant of. So it makes it not perfect, but we think it's certainly really attractive and a really good project that will get done. So hopefully with your support here today, we can get this thing in the ground by the end of summer.
Commissioner Roblin, you had a question before I bring it to the public.
Well, the building next door to it is a little bit similar to it. At the COW meeting, I said I didn't think there was any, but it is. It is a little bit similar to that. It has the same kind of window.
Facade. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I am concerned. It's in my SMD. I am concerned about the trash issue. I mean, what about just like moving it a little further away from the part that's sticking out there? I mean, wouldn't that help? Could that be done?
Yeah, we're happy to move it all the way over to this side that it's closer to the unit and screen it off there. We have no problem doing that.
Like, look, we're heavily incentivized to make sure that trash isn't a problem for those units, or those units become not marketable. I think that if we're being kind of candid and transparent about it, we push it to the front, we push it to the side, we screen it, but it's never perfect because it's trash. And this, for the day on Friday or Thursday or Wednesday, the trash collection day, when it's fully filled up, it can be an issue during the summer months. But we screen it as best we can. We push as far away from the building as we can because it's in everyone's best interest. Like, we don't want smelly trash there any more than you would.
We're over time.
Thank you. I'll just make the comments directed from the public. BZA case 20900 from Clarence Lee. The date of the developer, to date, the developer has not mailed the notification letters to the neighbors and has not directly had a single member district presentation. I think Commissioner Rama can address that or not, but I know they presented at the COW. I think that the ANC should postpone any letter of support until these things are completed. Gentlemen, was there a notification to letters sent to neighbors?
So our land use legal isn't on, so I'd have to double check with her. I strongly suspect that there was. I know this is our third presentation. But I can't speak out of turn. I'll certainly confirm for you, but I'd be extremely surprised if those letters have not been sent out.
Okay.
Well, I contacted people myself, but I did not hear any of them say that they had been contacted by you all.
Okay,
I
well,
will, I will definitely,
thank you
I
for
will
the
definitely
clarification,
check with them.
Commissioner.
Yeah.
And just two quick questions. Who is the current owner of this building, and can parking not be provided from the alley behind the building? I think the design shows that, but just to clarify.
PSG 5 Fisher LLC, which is an entity that we own, is the current owner of the building. And that kind of alleyway back there is not a public alley, so we don't have a right to access through it, which is what's generating the need for the kind of parking spot variance. And just for clarity, we also have a 3% lot coverage variance for the front window, right? So the front window, right now we're asking for an extra, I think, like 3 feet as well. I don't believe Adam mentioned that, but I just want to make it clear for the record. Those are the two things we present.
I'm sorry, you all, but we are far over time.
Thank you, Mr. Parliamentarian. Would any commissioner like to make a motion in support of this project?
I move to support the project at 1108 Montello Avenue, BZA case 2090.
Moved by Commissioner May. Can I get a sec? Can Commissioner May get a second? I'll second. Second by myself. All those in favor of supporting this project, BZA case 20900 at 1108 Montello Avenue, say aye.
Aye.
You got it. Aye from Commissioner May. Any more ayes? Any more in favor? All those opposed, say nay or opposed. Nay.
Nay. Opposed.
Can we do a roll call real quick just to clarify? 5D03. 5D03, Commissioner?
Abstain.
You abstain. Okay, thank you. 5D04.
Abstain.
Thank you. 5D05, that's myself. I oppose. 5D06.
I oppose with one caveat. I would be willing to reconsider this matter if the applicant would address those concerns raised and come back.
Thank you. 5D07.
Oppose.
5D08, you support. And 5D09.
Oppose.
Okay. Looks like the motion does not carry to support this project. Gentlemen, we'll be in touch. Hopefully we can have you guys come back and address those concerns that we raised at tonight's meeting. Thank you for attending.
Thanks for the time.
Thank you. Mr. Parliamentarian, thank you for keeping us on time. I know we are late. We have just a few more things to go over. We have a safer sidewalk resolution being presented by Commissioner May. We have our neighboring commissions that have been working on this project and reached out to Commissioner May in support. Commissioner May, can you talk about this?
I can. I'm going to share my screen briefly with everyone.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Yeah, no problem. Yes, so this is as Commissioner Saucedo Guzman mentioned, this is a resolution that we are proposing. It mirrors resolutions that are circulating among other Ward 5 ANCs. This was suggested by Commissioner Colleen Costello from ANC 5B, and she'd been communicating with Councilmember Parker's office about his intention to propose legislation that would call on DDOT to essentially to create a sidewalk index. DC currently has a pavement condition index that essentially tracks the condition and quality of roads throughout the district. We don't have something similar for sidewalks. This is intended to standardize our measurement of sidewalk conditions, which would lead to a more consistent and equitable approach to repairs by prioritizing the sidewalks that are most in need of updates, as opposed to prioritizing repairs and updates based on requests from members of the public or ANCs, which then results in folks who maybe have the loudest voices or are most connected getting their sidewalks repaired first or more frequently. So that's what the resolution calls for, and it's pretty straightforward what it asks for here. And so we discussed this a bit at the committee of the whole, and I'd like to put it before the commission for a vote today.
Okay. I'll open again to commissioners that have questions and for any public to use the Q&A feature to drop questions in there. Commissioner May, just if you could explain this to an elementary schooler, what does this resolution entail?
If I were explaining this to an elementary schooler, this is to essentially create a database or a list of sidewalks throughout the District of Columbia and to order them based on their condition to prioritize improvements and repairs for residents.
Thank you, Commissioner May. Commissioner Cobb, I see you have your hand raised.
Yeah, I just want to say I think this is a really great resolution. I found that in so much in transportation issues really can boil down to the most obscure kind of, nerdy stuff, whether you're talking about level of service or the MUTCD or the criteria for fixing a sidewalk. It's often these little technical details that really make a difference. And I think this resolution really gets at it.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Henderson, I think I saw your hand raised.
Yes, the resolution on its face, it sounds good, but it's really unnecessary because all it's doing is duplicating what DDOT in conjunction with the Office on Aging is already doing to improve the ability to age in place and fixing sidewalks and making sure they're ADA compliant and accessible. So I wish that, our colleagues would really understand what our DC government agencies are already doing before they just kind of jump out there with resolutions that sound good, but really it's already being done.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Henderson. Commissioner Cobb, you had your hand raised again?
Yeah, I appreciate Commissioner Henderson raising that point because there is that joint effort right now to improve sidewalks and make them ADA compliant. But I think this resolution kind of complements that effort. The Office on Aging is saying, or a newfound emphasis on making our sidewalks ADA compliant and updating them. This resolution just really gets into in what order do we do that? How do we pick which sidewalks come first?
They're already doing that.
Thank you, Commissioner Cobb. I don't see any questions from the public. I'll just make a final comment before we allow Commissioner May to bring this to the floor for a vote. There's nothing wrong with reinforcing if they're doing this or not already. Nothing wrong with reinforcing it again. Nothing wrong for them to, reevaluate how to use our tax dollars to get these kind of things done. And I am more than, happy to see a resolution like this just to reinforce something, whether it's done or not. Just like Commissioner Cobb said very lately, complementing the work that's already being done. So Commissioner May, I'll let you bring this to the floor.
All right, I move that we adopt the resolution calling on the district government to survey and fix every sidewalk as presented here.
Can Commissioner May get a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Blacknell. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And any abstentions?
Abstain.
Okay, thank you. The motion carries, and Commissioner May, we ask that you forward that to the corresponding folks.
Will do, thank you.
Thank you. Moving forward, we have one proposal and our final letter of support for a stipulated license for the public. Thank you so much for staying with us a little bit after 10. We have a proposal here that was discussed at our COW meeting a few weeks ago. Feel free to look back at that meeting. Those meetings are available online to the public on YouTube and always available the fourth Monday, the last Monday of the month, I'm sorry, via YouTube. You can always join into those COW meetings that way. We're looking at a proposal. Commissioner May, can you pull up the proposal, please, so we can discuss this proposal? This proposal, again, had full support from the 7 ANC commissioners that attended the COW meeting earlier last month in regards to the space that we decide for our public meetings for the next couple of months. Specifically until September. This proposal was drafted after the discussion by our secretary. Commissioner May, can you briefly just touch on the proposal?
I can. So the proposal covers two things, two separate topics, but they're both related to meeting administration. One is modality, so how and how we meet, essentially, virtually or in person. And then the other relates to engagement with the community. So the first, regarding modality, that what the proposal essentially says is that pursuant to current DC law, ANCs have the authority to meet virtually until October 6th, 2023, which for ANC 5D means that we have the option to hold our June, August, and September meetings virtually. We, as a reminder, we take July off. And so the proposal here, based on our discussion at the committee of the whole meeting, is to set our intention to hold those three meetings in June, August, and September virtually via Zoom as we are tonight with a call-in option. So continuing the same modality through September, at which point we will reassess and see whether DC law requires us to return to in-person, allows for options or what have you. The second part is regarding public engagement. As members of the public may recall, we had the chat enabled for the January meeting of the ANC 5D, and we had a lot of comments in the chat. There was a lot of engagement. Some of that, I think it's fair to say, tipped over into maybe a little bit more personal commentary or criticisms. Because of some concerns about that raised by members of the commission, we decided to only utilize the Q&A function for the February through May now. So February, March, April, and May meetings. But we've had some requests to consider re-enabling the chat. And so we are taking up that request. And the proposal, as again written here, it proposes reopening the chat feature for the June meeting, but clarifying that it would come with essentially a zero tolerance policy for any sort of hateful speech, offensive personal comments or anything like that, and that anyone who doesn't adhere to those community standards could be expelled from the meeting.
Thank you, Commissioner, for clarifying. This proposal has been properly noticed to the Commission 7 days in advance of tonight's meeting, as well as to the public 7 days in advance of tonight's meeting, as requested in our bylaws. Again, this was discussed at our last COW meeting. We have been, just so clarifying to the public, for those that don't watch those meetings, we have been making a vote amongst the commission at our COW meetings in terms of how to proceed every monthly meeting, whether virtual or in person. And we decided to make this proposal just to clarify that for the next 3 meetings that we have on our calendar and open up the chat feature, simply also noting that it will be monitored to ensure that no hate or bullying or any form of negative activity is occurring there. I do note that at the January meeting, I decided as chair to remove the chat feature after the interactions that some of the public was having with Commissioner Henderson. No one in the commission, whether you attract that energy or not, deserves any hate, any type of commentary or feedback. You can have that as a separate conversation on your own time, but not at the public meetings. That's not what this space is for. This space is for business. This space is for business of ANC 5D and the residents that it holds. So with that being said, I'll open the conversation open to the public to drop any questions in the Q&A as well. If there's any commissioners that have final comments on the proposal, we can go ahead and proceed. I don't see any questions in the Q&A. A comment from Desiree Williams. Thank you guys for adding this feature, commissioners. I truly appreciate your thoughtful consideration for this. Thank you, Ms. Williams, for addressing your concern with bringing back the chat feature. We appreciate residents like you that reach out with those type of concerns directly to the commission as a whole. Are there any final comments from the commissioners in terms of this proposal?
Would you restate the proposal?
The proposal is to hold ANC 5D meetings virtually in June, August, and September, and to reinstate the chat feature for those virtual meetings.
And this should also include holding the meetings in public with the option of including the virtual component to aid in participation. I will continue to state most of the residents in ANC 5D as a whole do not know when or where these monthly meetings are, and they don't even know how to access them.
So the meetings are public and they are available publicly. The information is available online. If any constituents of 5D have issues accessing the meetings, they should address those concerns directly with their ANC commissioner to make sure that they are properly given resources to access the meetings. That being said, I'll move forward to make a motion to I move that we support this proposal and vote on this proposal. Can I get a second on that?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Blacknell. Do we have a discussion on this vote? No discussion on this vote. Okay. Those in favor of this proposal, in terms of holding our ANC public meetings for the month of June, August, and September virtually, and reinstating the chat feature, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Abstention.
Okay. Well, the ayes have it. The motion carries. We'll go ahead and move forward, proceeding with our virtual setting for our ANC public meeting until the month of September, and reinstate the chat feature for folks moving forward for our next meetings. Okay, moving on with the agenda, we have our final thing. We made it to the end. We have a request for a letter of support for a stipulated license from ABRA. For the public that are not aware what a stipulated license is, while I'm saying that, I'm going to promote our presenter. A stipulated license allows an applicant for a retailer, manufacturer, or wholesaler license to operate during its 45-day public notice period. Meaning that while they're waiting for this 45-day public notice period, they can request the ANC for support of a stipulated license. And we have our Ms. JC here today, going to present on behalf of the art room and why they're requesting the license. JC, whenever you're ready, go ahead and start. You're muted. Oh, there you go. Thank you.
Hi, can everyone hear me? Okay, great. I can't figure out how to share my slides, so I might just proceed. I know that, it's been a long night. We have had a full agenda tonight. So thank you all, commissioners and the community, for staying on the call. I appreciate your attention and consideration, and I'll keep this presentation brief. But yeah, the first question you might have is, why am I here? Well, I'm super excited to announce that I'm opening the Art Room, which is a pottery painting studio, art gallery, and creative space that will open in Union Market District on May 18th. We're uplifting both emerging artists and local artists through our gallery, and creating space for people who might not consider themselves artists to get creative and appreciate some great art through our pottery painting studio portion. I was born in DC. I live in 5D right now. So I'm really excited to share this project I've been working on with y'all. Feel free to check out our opening night on May 18th. I'm here today because I would love to be able to begin offering guests a small selection of wine and beer as they paint pottery or explore the gallery. To make this a reality, I'm asking for your help by way of drafting a letter of support to allow the art room to begin offering those beverages to guests as they paint or explore the gallery. This letter of support would not be associated with sales, but would rather in support for a small business in the community. When I brought this to the chairman, there were 3 questions I was asked to present on. Those questions were: 1, what is the purpose of the support letter? 2, what is the community impact / need for the support? And 3, what is the reason why this request needs to be expedited through the ANC and not wait for ABRA to handle? I'm going to read all these questions straight from my slide deck. So while you can't follow along, I'm going to read it straight from there, so you'll be able to know exactly what I would have said. And I'm happy to share that slide deck later if interested. So first question, what is the purpose of the letter? The purpose of the support letter is to allow the art room to be able to begin to serve alcohol during the protest period and indicate that the art room would not pose a risk to public safety. End of answer. Next question. Number 2, and I split this into 2 parts. First one, what is the community impact? I know DC well, and I live in the community. I know how great it would be to have more spaces to spend time with friends, reconnect with loved ones, and build new relationships that aren't just a bar and a restaurant. The art room is all about bringing people together. The art room will provide a unique and creative space for people to come together, explore their creativity. By offering pottery painting, displaying emerging artists' work, and providing space for other creative community events, the art room will help to promote artistic expression and foster a sense of community among local residents. The art room will support local artists by showcasing their work in our gallery space and providing them a platform for them to connect with potential customers. This will help promote the artists in the community and support local creatives. And lastly, by offering a new and unique type of business in the neighborhood, the art room will help to attract visitors to the area, which could have potential economic benefits to some of the other local small businesses. So the second part of that question, what's the need for support? The local ANC plays an important role in reviewing liquor license applications and making recommendations to the ABRA board. A letter of support from the ANC would help demonstrate that the art room is a responsible and valued member of the community and that is committed to operating in a safe and responsible manner. Without the support of the ANC, the art room may face additional challenges in obtaining a liquor license, which could delay our opening or even prevent us from serving alcohol altogether. This could have a negative impact on our ability to serve our customers and support local artists, as well as our ability to contribute positively to the community. And lastly, by providing a letter of support, the local ANC can help to signal to the ABRA board that the art room is responsible and well-regarded business that will contribute positively to the neighborhood, and that allowing us to serve alcohol during the protest period would not pose a risk to public safety. And to answer the third question, why does this need to be expedited through the ANC? Due to the nature of the lease for the pop-up store, the art room was only able to receive the final version of the lease. I believe it was on last Friday or Thursday. So that means that the art room hasn't had sufficient time to go through traditional timetables to obtain the license. Without the license, the art room will not be able to serve alcohol during the protest period, which could have a negative impact on our ability to attract customers. And this is particularly important for small business pop-up store that will only be in the area for the summer, as it's critical to maximize the experience for the community while we're in the area. As a pop-up store that'll only be in the area for the summer, time is of the essence. It's critical that we're able to obtain the liquor license as fast as possible to ensure that we're able to serve alcohol during the protest period and maximize our impact on the community. And lastly, waiting for the ABRA board to handle the application through traditional timetables could take several weeks or even months, which would significantly delay our ability to serve alcohol and generate revenue. This could have a negative impact on our ability to operate the business and contribute positively to the community. So again, that's the end of what I have to say. Thank you so much for your time and consideration. And I now open up the floor.
Thank you, Ms. JC. Thank you for the information and taking the time to actually do the due diligence to address the main points that we like to be presented at the public meeting. We do get requests for stipulated licenses a lot, but 90% of the time, 99% of the time almost, folks don't want to present to the public and they just rather just wait. So you're doing the hard work, and I appreciate that as a chair for 5D, and we appreciate you coming out last minute to address these issues and concerns. Commissioner Blacknell, I saw that your hand was raised. Did you have a question?
Just a quick question. What are your hours of operation? You forgot to say that.
My apologies. That's a great question. So Wednesday will be open for gallery purposes only by appointment. So that will be from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. No alcohol will be served during this time, strictly for art viewing. Thursday, we will be open from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. Friday, we will be open from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. Saturday and Sunday, we will be open from 12 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Thank you. Commissioner Henderson, you had a question?
Well, I have a comment. I think, first of all, I think that the providing pottery and art is commendable. but I think it's very disrespectful to Abra and to the community to come to the commission to ask us to undercut the protest process, which allows the public to be heard. I think that's very inappropriate, and it's a slippery slope, and it opens the door, to others coming, with a similar sense of urgency that is not well documented or well expressed. While I appreciate, the business model to a degree, I haven't heard anything compelling about why this commission should circumvent the ABRA's protest process to give you a stipulated license. And I think that's very, very improper. And I will certainly be voting against it.
Okay, definitely. Well, thank you so much for bringing that to my attention, to address the disrespect to ABRA, and come to the commission to ask local ANC. Actually, the reason why I knew about this avenue was because I was recommended to pursue this avenue by ABRA. So they've actually asked me and suggested that I attend here. As far as, nothing compelling. I completely understand your vote. For me, this is my life. This is my business. I'm so passionate about this area. I'm, you don't have, I can't convince you, and I understand that.
Thank you, Ms. JC, for the response to the commissioner. I know the what you're presenting marries well with the culture already at Union Market. So again, I appreciate you even coming out to the public meeting to actually present on your request. Commissioner McCollum?
Yes, let me first say that I was actually going to be in favor of what Commissioner Henderson said. I was going to be against this as well, just because I don't want to have open the door to a lot of individuals coming. But I will tell you this, your presentation was amazing. Your passion, I can feel it and I see it. And, you made the comment that you were recommended to come to us. And I will say that you did a very good presentation in coming to us. So because of that, I am going to support this. But I also want to go on record and just say that I am not going to be a supporter of just any individual or any business coming and asking us to lax the rules during that period. But I will commend you on tonight. You did a very good job. Thank you for coming, and you were very well prepared. And I feel your passion, and hopefully we'll get invited to opening night.
Thank you, Commissioner, for those words. Okay, for time, I'll make, I'm sorry, I don't think I see any other questions or comments from the public. Commissioner May, you had a question?
No, it's okay. Go ahead. I was going to echo Commissioner McCollum.
Okay. So I move that we support this stipulated license for the art room. Can I get a second on this motion?
Second.
Second by Commissioner May. All in favor of supporting a stipulated license for the art room, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Opposed.
And any abstentions? Okay, the motion carries. Ms. JC will be in touch for your letter of support for that stipulated license. Thank you so much for coming out tonight.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, we are at the end of our meeting, and now we have an opportunity for direct community feedback or questions. This is an opportunity for the public to address a question that they might have. We do have one question from Ms. Desiree Williams. I have heard from sponsoring agency that inclusionary units are not being afforded to local or native Washingtonians. How do we request newly constructed buildings in our community prioritize Ward 5 residents or native Washingtonians? This may encourage Ward 5 residents opportunities to remain in the community. I'll allow this discussion open to the commissioners that want to add comment. I know a lot of this stems from the beginning stages of any development or project. I do really push that residents attend the zoning meetings. We hold them, I believe, the third Thursday of the month via Zoom. They are available to the public via Zoom and YouTube. You can find our zoning committee meeting information on our website. Come out to those meetings. That's a great opportunity for you to directly ask questions to developers. they're not as those meetings are not as strict with time as our public meetings because we have so many other topics and items to bring to the table. But these type of questions, Ms. Williams, I really like to hear them come from specifically from residents. I address concerns whether the projects that are coming to 5D are able to be accessible to the residents of 5D. I see a lot of projects that really don't look that way, and they tend to at least give us some segue to work around them on those issues and concerns. But please join us in the first stages of these conversations, specifically at the zoning committee meetings. We do request developers to attend those meetings and then our COW and then our public. So we have some stages there where we can address concerns and hopefully see some segue on those issues. Are there any of the commissioners that want to add to that question from Ms. Williams?
Yes, since Ms. Williams is actually my constituent, I'll just be very brief and we can have an offline conversation. The inclusionary zoning process is a long-standing program that offers opportunities to residents. Our Ward 5 residents, I am happy to see that a number of Ward 5 residents do have their inclusionary zoning certificates. And we also have to consider fair housing, which means that such programs for affordable housing opportunities are open to all. So as a real estate broker, we can't stress fair housing enough. So yes, we're all prioritizing Ward 5 because we live in Ward 5, but we want to make sure that the program continues to be open to all, which it is. And certainly, I'm always available to speak with you further about this if you have any additional questions.
Thank you, Commissioner. We have one question from Azah. Are we still able to join the Transportation Committee? I submitted an application and wanted to understand what the deadline was. I'll direct it to our Transportation Chair, Commissioner Cobb.
Yes, we are still accepting applications for the Transportation Committee. I have not gotten any myself. I'm not sure if maybe there's something on the back end going on with the back end of our website.
We'll follow up with that to check.
Yeah, so I will just, let's see, can I drop my email in the chat? Like, to everyone?
I think you can direct it to Azah. It's 5d04@anc.dc.gov.
Yeah. So just, email to me directly, like Commissioner Salcedo Guzman said, it's 5d04@anc.dc.gov. Thanks.
Okay, any other final comments or things that need to be addressed by the commission or comments, questions from the public? I don't see anything in the Q&A. I do request again to the residents that are still with us this late into the night, if you have any concerns or things that needed to be addressed that weren't addressed today, feel free to reach out to your commissioner, your ANC commissioner via email or other contact information available through the OANC website or directly our 5D website. Our secretary has been doing a good job sprucing it up, and I have gotten great feedback that it's more easily accessible in terms of easily finding what they need to find. So being that we always sharing a lot of information out there to the public, feel free to contact us directly if you have any questions. I'm personally one of those commissioners that prefer a phone call over an email, but again, correspondence, either way you can give it, we'll take it. So with that being said, I do move that we adjourn tonight's meeting. Can I get a second on this motion?
Second.
Oh, y'all were slow there. Second by Commissioner Roblin. Those in favor of adjourning tonight's meeting, say aye.
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 Okay. Those opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, the motion carries. We'll go ahead and adjourn tonight's meeting. Thank you, everyone, for